red, the engines are revving, and it's pedal to the metal, go, 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 go! Opponent there on the straight there, leading on towards the first corner, and he does it! He makes the move and he pulls it off! What a great display of racing around the first corner here at Canada. Seems to have lost it round turn 10, and that car is going to be out of the race. It's looking at a collision right now, commiserations to the driver and to his team. And he rounds the final corner and takes victory here and extends his lead at the top of the driver's standings. Going red, the engines are revving, and it's pedal to the metal, go, 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 go! Opponent there on the straight there, leading on towards the first corner, and he does it! He makes the move and he pulls it off! What a great display of racing around the first corner here at Canada. Seems to have lost it round turn 10, and that car is going to be out of the race. It's looking at a collision right now, commiserations to the driver and to his team. And he rounds the final corner and takes victory here and extends his lead at the top of the driver's standings. Going red, the engines are revving, and it's pedal to the metal, go, 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 go! Opponent there on the straight there, leading on towards the first corner, and he does it! He makes the move and he pulls it off! What a great display of racing around the first corner here at Canada. Seems to have lost it round turn 10, and that car is going to be out of the race. It's looking at a collision right now, commiserations to the driver and to his team. corner and takes victory here and extends his lead at the top of the driver's standings. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Formula Online Racing here, sponsored by MIXT Energy, or affiliated by MIXT Energy. We are here from France, here at the Paul Ricard circuit, the famous Paul Ricard circuit, very much known for its flat track and very, very wide, very wide track indeed. Obviously, lots of overtaking places, certainly the Mistral Straight providing yet again some more fast-paced, intense action, and I'm sure we'll be seeing a lot of it here today as we now watch Yossi Heinze go out. I am joined by my colleague and friend Luke Etheridge. Luke, how are you doing, sir?
I'm very well, thanks. Hopefully we'll get some good action tonight. I know France, not always the most interesting circuit in real life, but on the F1 games at least, it does seem to provide plenty of action.
Certainly does now. We're just watching Yossi Heinze go out, though I will say it doesn't seem to be any desktop feed coming through my thing, which is a bit concerning. That doesn't usually happen, so apologies on that, folks. Can you speak again, Luke?
Hello?
Oh, it is coming through. Yes, it's working. Oh, that's a relief.
Sorry, that's good.
I had a bit of a panic then. But yes, you are joining us here at France, here, the French Grand Prix here at Paul Ricard. Very, very notable circuit. Lots, like I said before, of overtaking sections. And certainly with the pace of drivers we have on show this evening, it's going to be a corker. The driver standings are as follows. Currently, Droftas still leading the way in P1 with still a gap to Paulie Orange in P2, who was very unfortunate at Canada last week after succumbing to penalties and therefore finishing outside the top three in the race, leading towards the end of that Canadian Grand Prix. Incidentally, very interesting fact for you, no driver this season in FOR in the PS4 Championship has gone onto the podium more than 2 occasions. We have not had a 3-occasion podium for any driver this season, and it's going to be interesting to see whether anyone's going to actually break that record here today at France. Will Paulie Orange do it? He was on form to do it last week until he got those penalties. He was on top of the podium. He could have easily tipped the scale in his favour and got his 3rd win, but it just wasn't to be. Just looking as well further down, Aston Martin Red Bull Racing currently top in the constructors' standings with Haas currently in P2 in hot pursuit. Paulie Orange getting them the points that they so richly deserved after going ahead of Racing Point in the championship. Mercedes clawing their way back up. Double O still looking to get his first points of the season, and McLaren after Aylan's great performance last week, obtaining P3 after that's his second P3 this season after a P3 at China. He does the same thing at Canada, and I've got to say he's looking in great form. Let's get your perspective then, Luke. What was your thoughts on last week? Certainly a lot of action, a lot of chopping and changing around at the top of the classifications. Obviously Paulie Orange not able to get his third win after those penalties. It certainly did throw a few question marks as to what the finish was going to be.
Yeah, we mentioned it in the podcast that quite a few drivers getting penalties around Canada. That could play a factor here because you don't really get punished for running off the circuit. So I wouldn't be too surprised if penalties play a part again. What really had an effect though were the two safety cars that mixed up the field with strategies. And obviously, if you've then got a 3-second penalty, the entire field has bunched up together. It is going to have a much bigger effect, as you saw with Paulie Orange dropping from what looked like being a victory and would have been a well-deserved victory, having overtaken Westy twice on the circuit, ended up not even being on the podium for him. So I think he could definitely be one to watch tonight.
He definitely could be. We're just riding on board now with Yossi Heinz, who's currently about to cross the line, and as he does so, will he be able to nail top spot? No, P5 for Yossi Heinz. So we did say before the start of the race, remember this track here at France, built on a plateau, which means it is so flat, and therefore drivers that can really cope and encourage straight line speed, it's going to suit them. And already Baruch is showing that. He's currently still showing with E5 at the moment. That is not his real name. His name is Baruch usually in our league, and he's currently on top spot here in the standings. 130.060 here in the classifications here at the French Q1 at this stage. We're just seeing now we've got a yellow flag there in sector 2. No doubt that's a Haas car slowing down. I got a feeling it might be Serious Mushroom, and it is. And he is letting the traffic go by. You see Jonathan Cox there, who had a very good start to the season. Luke still not yet managed to grasp the form that he had previously in the season, but he did have a penalty last week, which did not help him because he wasn't able to complete the full 3 stages of qualifying.
Yeah, both Racing Points last time out having a qualifying penalties. It was Jonathan Cox was banned from Q2 and Q3 with Yossi Heinz being unable to compete in Q3, so that affected them obviously. We know both of the drivers have got pace, so we're hoping to be nearer the front of the field, not to get caught up in the middle in any potential first corners, because it's quite a slow first sector, so you expect to see maybe a few incidents as are quite often in real life. I think it was the F2 race where the two Kramer cars, Schumacher and Galeo, got together going into turn 3, I believe, this year. It's each sector of Paul Ricard is very individual. They each have its own characteristics. Sector 1, very slow and twisty. Sector 2, pretty much all about the Mistral straight. In the mid-1980s, the chicane wasn't even there. It was pretty much one straight. And then you've got that high-speed, high-downforce final sector where if your tyres are slightly worn out, there's a chunk of time there, it's very easy to overheat the soft tyres that most of the drivers are on at the moment in that final sector.
It certainly is, and with plenty of corners, and certainly the high-speed corners, that's where you do lose the grip on the compound tyres. So really, you want to get your best laps out as soon as possible. And certainly one of those guys who's going to want to do that is Andenj, because he has got a Q3 ban, so he will not be able to submit a fast lap in Q3. He can though make the most of Q1 and Q2, so he's obviously got that on his mind to try and get himself to the very top if he can. I mean, P10 is the best he can hope for in today's qualifying session, so let's see what he can notch out now. He's currently on his fast lap now. He's making his way around the latter stages of the circuit now. He's in sector 3, just going around Bousset now, and very soon he'll be entering the Garlaban sector, which is just after this left-hander. You can see it's quite swooping corners here at France, and you can take a lot of the curve, though a lot of the drivers choosing not to. They are slightly raised, you can lose traction. He's just making his way around Tour now, and after Tour you've got Pont, which is the final right-hand bend, and that'll lead them on towards the home straight now. You can just see the crowds there, the paddock on the right-hand side. You can see the line there, right in front. What's Andenj going to post? It's a 130.602 P4 there for the Alfa Romeo, Luke.
Yeah, must have lost some time in the first in the final sector, because he was looking very good in the first couple of sectors. Josh in the Renault, first man underneath 1 minute 30 with a 1:29.875. That's a pretty decent time for this first qualifying session. We would expect them to get faster throughout the different sessions. Speaking of Van Dench and his qualifying ban, I wonder if in Q2 he'll go for a similar tactic as Jossi Heinze did, just trying to see if he can get through to the top 10 on those medium tyres, knowing that they could well be the better tyre in the first stages of the race.
Could well do. It certainly is a case of strategy where Van Dench is concerned, because he's got to, I suppose, put together a vastly different strategy compared to what the rest of the field are probably going to come out with. Incidentally, going back to Josh, this is his first Grand Prix here at FOR. We haven't seen him yet this season, and I've got to say we've heard a lot of good things, and no doubt he'll be looking to prove himself today. He's got the Renault seat, and he'll be looking to really push himself up the field, taking the seat of Dan Murphy there. Dan Murphy, obviously a race winner here at FOR, a double race winner in fact. I think he won at Baku on his return. Unfortunately, life caught up with him again and he's unable to compete here in FOR, but Joshua has been brought in his stead, looking to do the business in the yellow Renault as well, so I'm sure we'll see a lot of him this season. It's a very hotly contested grid. Looking up the field, Jonathan Cox still out on his lap, he's in P4. Good lap put together from him, a 1:30.196, so looking to see, well, we're seeing some improvement without a shadow of a doubt. Looking further down as well, 00 in P5 at the moment after setting a promising initial lap time, 1:30.557. And Nuts Asylum, he's creeped in as well, 1:30.635. Good to see him amongst the field as well, Luke.
Yeah, we saw him coming good in the F2 race on Tuesday, but a couple of good results. And really for both Ferrari rivals, the pace is there, just things haven't been going for them. Lawrence tired last time out, finished just outside of the points in Monaco. I think it's only a matter of time for both of them. That is the case with Double Out as well, as you mentioned. Except Bottas, still the only rider for Mercedes to have scored points, but Double O has shown pace both the races I've seen him in, and again, just a matter of time before he gets up into the points. But with this season looking like it's going to be a big thing about who can be the most consistent and clean drivers across all the races. The pace is just that even.
It certainly is. The standards are so high here at FOR. We've got such a great collective of drivers here, and all of them race winners and world champions as well. We're just looking at Westy at the moment now. He's already set a lap out on hard tyres, a 1:31.632. Very good pace showing here from Westy, and after his win last week at Canada, he's got to be brimming with confidence right now. Can he do what Wally Orange did and get a double here with a win here at France? It could well happen. He's out on the soft tyres now though, and after that setting up 1:31, he must be thinking after setting that initial pace, he beat a lot of well, a couple of soft tyre candidates there, that being Otos and Habilu, the Red Bull and Toro Rossos respectively. Now watching the new Williams driver make his way down the circuit, he has in fact invalidated his lap there, and that's not going to help him on those fresh soft tyres, because like we said before, the degradation quite high here around France. If you consider how these corners are set out, the sweeping ones tend to show more wear and tear on your tyres. Certainly this asphalt very unforgiving, Luke, around France.
Yeah, I think that's what happened to Van Den in his qualifying lap, to be honest. He maybe just overheated the tyres in the first sector, and Westy heading into the pits after invalidating that lap. After setting that time on the hard tyres, I'm surprised he didn't just go up to the mediums and see what he could do on them, because I think he would have had the pace to get into the second qualifying session. But as we've said earlier, it may be the better base tyres, so he might be wanting to keep a fresh set of mediums ready to try and get into the top 10 in Q2. And Westy kept it nice and clean last time out, had the least penalties out of those that were fighting for the win, and that is what earned him the victory in the end. And I have seen drivers get disqualified around this track for getting too many penalties and trying to straight line corners too much, especially turn 7 as you just come onto the mist straight. The game can give you a bit of leeway around there, but if you just get it too wrong too often, you're going to find yourself disqualified, and you do not want that to happen. So Westy, I think he'll be looking good, and with Russia, just got to talk a bit about his strategy nightmare maybe last time out under the safety car in Canada, because he could have easily been leading the championship going into this race, and he ended up not scoring any points.
I think it's a case of lesson learnt with Borussia after that occasion. I mean, that was something that I don't think even to this day will begin to understand what he was possibly thinking. I mean, it would have made sense if he was going to pit to pit the previous safety car, which he did indeed do, I believe, because he was out on pressure soft tyres. It was just before that safety car came out, should I say. Even so, I mean, the fact that he was under 2 safety cars, that would have conserved his tyres even more so. We would have got close to the end of the race. It was within 9-lap territory, and he could have easily brought those home, and he could have very, very easily collected the win that day, especially where the penalties were concerned. I think he actually was better set on penalties than the drivers that indeed got podiums that day, and it would have been a very, very different story. Just looking now at 00 at the moment, Luke, he is set a fastest sector 1, and he's showing some true raw pace at the moment, and this could be the day where we see the best of 00, because he's looking particularly smart right now as he makes his way down the Mistral Straight.
Yeah, just unlucky to get caught up in that huge accident that caused over safety cars in Canada, so he'll have a point to prove as well. He's looking really good tonight. Impressed by the fact that he's managed to set fastest first sector on what is the second lap on those tyres. That is a very good job from him. As he does now just back off, so I think he's made a mistake somewhere in the second sector. He's looking good in 5th place at the moment, but with it being so close between all the drivers, I think he should still be safe enough. Maybe everyone up to NUF1 looking pretty comfortable, and everyone from Andorra down looking over their shoulders to try and make sure they get through this first qualifying session.
Absolutely, we just see now 00 dive into the pit lane. Just looking further down, speaking of Andorra, this is his first taste of Formula Online racing here today as well. We've got 2 newcomers. VMS Andorra taking the seat of McLaren right now. He set a 131.011. We've heard a lot of good things about Andorra as well. Has raced with Artillero. They're both part of the same clan group, and they do drive in AOR as well. They race in AOR in Tier 3. Very notable drivers, very successful drivers. I believe Andorra is challenging for the title there as well, and he will be looking to do the same here. But naturally, a very, very tough grid order here at FOR, and it can push every single driver to the absolute limit, and that's what makes this exciting. We're now watching the championship leader Drofdas make his way around the circuit now. He's out on an outlap, and what can we expect to see from Drofdas? Of course, he's really, really consistent, and I suppose that's what you really need around the track like the Paul Ricard circuit, because obviously, like I say, you need to manage it very, very carefully and effectively, and that's exactly what I believe Drofdas can do.
Yeah, managed to get into it. First time this season, it sounds a bit weird to say for the championship, because it's just been that varied with who's been winning the races. I do believe he can get a good result here tonight. Did well at Monaco, getting the podium. A bit unlucky in Canada with a few incidents, and went for a move at the end of the race, which didn't pull off. He did have a penalty, but I believe he got that rescinded in the end. So again, he might be another driver with a bit of a point to prove, because a lot of the drivers who did well in Canada aren't the ones that you expected to naturally be at the front of the grid. Westy making his first appearance, NUF1 getting a good second place. He was so close to getting a win, and Alan showing some good fun to get his second podium of the season. And it was his Drofdas' championship rivals having a bit of a nightmare that helped him extend his lead rather than him having a fantastic race.
Yeah, it did, absolutely, and it really paid dividends for him, and in fact he managed to increase the gap, as NUF1 has indeed retired. I'm guessing he's happy with the 130.791. 130 is certainly the gauge at the moment in terms of where to be if you want to carry on, and the drivers certainly seem to believe that. So we've lost NUF1 and Jonathan Cox in this session. Depending on what happens now here in Q1, they will be going through. Just looking further down, Westy out on a fast lap as well, and he's on fresh soft, so he's looking to once again try and knock himself up the grid order. You firmly expect him to, based on what he did on his hard tyres. He's making his way down the Mistral Straight now. He'll very soon be at Cygnus, which is the right-hander, should I say? Yes, the right-hander leading into both set, and certainly Westy, like we said before, a man in great form as he makes his way around the Cygnus bend now with the right-hander. Swooping right-hander there. He's soon be met now with the bow set. As he does so, very, very quick downshifts there, leading into the Garlaban right. Well, it's a slight, small curve, very slim right angle bend. We're just watching him go through it now. You can see it now. A lot of the drivers now calling it a day as the time is whittled down to extra time here in Q1. At this stage, it looks like Kabilu is going to be going out, and so is Oto's if they don't pull their socks up. Westy now looking to punch his way to the top of the order now as he comes up towards the line. Is he going to make it here? Westy comes across the line. It is P5 at 1:30.328. A great lap there for the Williams driver there, Luke.
Yeah, Oto's moving as well, so maybe he'll be able to get himself further up the order. Aylan's not out of trouble. He had finished 14th in the session. Couldn't run with the podium sitters from last time out. Be heading out of this session. It's only Oto's who can knock him out now, I believe.
Yeah, well, Oto's is making his way into second two now, and he is going to be bombing straight down the latter stages of the Mistral Straight. And they've added a chicane obviously to that section. It's great advantages of this track is you're able to mop it however you want, and obviously they have a lot of racing series around Paul Ricard, and it tends to get chopped and changed on various occasions for various different series, and naturally this F1 grid order, with the amount of pace that these F1 cars carry, it's only important to have a chicane just to slow down the pace a little bit and just reduce the danger factor, I suppose. Certainly in a circuit like Paul Ricard, they make their way around the final bend now, and they'll see him cross the line now. Watching Oto's, can he knock Aylan out of Q1 as he makes his way across the line? He does indeed, just by the skin of his teeth, at 1:31.260, literally within half a tenth, or under half a tenth, separating those two, Luke.
Yeah, only managing to just do it. Well, that's all you need to do with Q1. It doesn't matter whether you're first or 14th, it has no bearing, and he'll be happy with that. Aylan, I feel a bit disappointed with that 15th place. I know Paul Ricard's not a favourite of one of the drivers, and maybe that's the case for him because it certainly looked that way tonight.
It certainly will be. We just heard as well, it's going to be a dry quali and a dry race, so it's going to be pretty good. I think we're going to be in good stead for a very quick race. But Josh taking P1 here in Q1, also in Q2 is in P2. Sorry, here in Q1 is Paulie Orange. Barusha takes P3. Jonathan Cox P4. Westy P5. Lawrence P6. Yossi Heitzer P7. Looking further down, 00 P8 and Denge P9. Drofdas in P10, looking further down as well. Nuts Asylum P11 makes it through. Anywhere F1 makes it through. So does BMS Anderoa P13. 14 for Oto's, knocking Aylan out at the death. And that's the classifications there. Obviously, the rest have been eliminated. I understand we've got a little bit of an echo on the stream. I'm trying to see if we can avoid that. I'm not sure if it's coming through my headphones or not. Denge P9, Drofdas in P10.
In the end, it looks like Aylan's actually got through into Q2, so I do sometimes wonder whether this game just makes up who it allows through or not. I'm sure in Monaco it knocked 5 drivers out in the first session, and this time it's only knocked out 3, but anyway, Q2 getting underway, and Aylan got a bit of a breather.
He did, Aylan did indeed. He's now in to Q2, so it's a good opportunity for him to now push his points here in this Q2 session. Can he get himself through to Q3? That is the big question, and that's the question on everyone's mind, I suppose. Obviously, remember, Andenge only able to get his best qualifying place in this session before he retires in Q3. That's if he gets through. So he'll have P10 on his mind as we now see the drivers make their way out. Just quickly see if I can adjust the game volume a second, because I think there's been a few complaints about game volume. Audio volume levels. I'll move that down to 5. Maybe that'll work. Nightmares. The wonders of gaming, folks. The wonders of gaming. We're now looking at
technology.
Oh,
exactly how you don't want it to.
Bane of our life, isn't it? Bane of our life. Well, there we are. No, we do our best anyway. We do our best, folks. If there's any issues, obviously let us know. But they're now making their way out to the pit lane. Any thoughts and feelings going as we go through to Q2 now, Luke? Where do you see the fast pace coming from?
Yeah, great lap obviously by Josh in that first session. Interested to see if he can carry it on. Most of the drivers have gone for the medium tyres, and that is something that we've seen quite often so far this season. Not too surprised to see Andenge going for the hards. I think he might even try and see if he can just set his best lap on those tyres, knowing that if he gets into the top 10 he's not looking too bad for the race. If he doesn't, he'll have a fresh choice of tyres for the start of this race. I'm surprised to see Oto's on them hard tyres though, because he obviously only just snuck in to Q2, so maybe he's just getting a bit of a banker lap before changing onto a softer tyre later on.
I believe so, and we're just watching them go out now. You just see NUF1 there, making his way out on his out lap. Medium tyres strapped to the suspension of the car. and very soon he will be making his way around on his fast lap. As you can see there, he came off a very good result in Canada last week, and he'll be looking to once again prove that he can mix it up with the best of them, and certainly will do. I think he's got lots of pace, and he'll have every chance to make an impression as he makes his way around the next couple of bends. Now we can see the final right-hander leading towards the main straight, and hopefully we can get a move on here in the session. Luke, I'm going to have a jostle about this sound mix. It certainly sounds like it's upsetting a few people, so I'm going to hand the commentary over to you for the time being.
No worries, whether they'll be happy with that. If the problem's sounding like me, we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, NUF1 not looking too bad. Did well in Canada, was a bit gutted about that mistake he made in the final chicane. We'll see what he can do now in this qualifying run. He's kept it nice and clean so far as the Toro Rosso driver, the only Toro Rosso driver to get through. He has definitely shown some good pace so far. But it looks like he's going to be one of the first people to set a lap. Jonathan Cox was the first one across the line, so we'll see how the pace has changed coming from Q1 to Q2, and NUF1 looking to get another good result here, as will a few people trying to make up what was a disappointing Canada. Both racing points look good so far in that first qualifying session. We'll see if they can keep it up. Traffic getting out of the way there. You don't want to get yourself a penalty blocking that one of the Mercedes drivers. Jonathan Cox, he's first driver across the line, 131.462, and Denge, unsurprisingly, slightly slower on those hard tyres. But I think once you negate the tyre difference, that's a pretty decent lap time from the Alfa Romeo driver. See what NUF1 can do now. Haas driver there going across the line just to start their flying lap. NUF1, he's going to come across the line now on this set of medium tyres, his first foray in Q2. 131.783, splitting the Racing Point and the Alfa Romeo at the moment. We've got further back, Droftas, he's come across the line, 134.533 on those soft tyres. So, wondering if the championship leader has made a mistake there, or has decided to just take it easy, because knowing that the fastest time you set in Q2, those tyres are what you have to use in the race. Lawrence diving into the pits on the soft tyres. So I think there's a few drivers now that have gone out early on their softs, decided that they're not really the ones that they want. So first few laps set in this qualifying session, 10 minutes still remaining. It is Jonathan Cox, then NUF1 and Denge and Silent Droftas, only drivers to set a time at the moment. Paulie Orange, he's now coming towards the end of the lap. He's in sector 3 at the moment on the hard tyres as well. Could have so easily been 3 wins a row for the Haas driver. We'll have to see how he does on those hards. Fastest man on the hards at the moment, and Denge. Great lap by Nuts Silent. I'll say to get in on the 132.4 on those tyres, to see the lack of grip that these hards have compared to some of the other tyres, but I don't think it's affected Paulie Orange too much. Great lap from him in the end, 131.663 from the Haas driver, faster than anyone in that final sector. So he's looking determined tonight to make up for the mistakes of last time around. Otos, he's invalidated his first lap, so hopefully for his sake he's got enough fuel in that car and ERS to set another lap time. Got yellow flags in sector 3, that'll just be for a slow moving car, I believe, getting out of the way. Double O diving into the pit, probably him, he's invalidated his lap time. We've got Josh just about to start his flying lap, man who set the pace in Q1. Can he keep that up in Q2 now that he's on a harder set of tyres? And he has already invalidated his lap time. Looks a bit slidey, definitely through turn 1, so perhaps just getting used to the pace on them tyres and wisely turning the ARS down. I imagine doing the same with the fuel, just to make sure that he's got enough to maybe go for one more run on this set of tyres before diving into the pits for a final go in this session. Still not really short of time, 8.5 minutes to go. Otos ended up setting a 132.630 on his set of hard tyres. Got to say, I am sounding slightly better on the stream now, so that's a good thing at least. So hopefully I'm not annoying you all with the echo now. I do apologise for that, but it's Jonathan Cox still on top as we get into the halfway point of this session. NUF1 sneaking into that third place on those medium tyres. See what Westy can do now. He's on the mediums on his hot lap. Only driver on a hot lap at the moment, although Josh will be starting his shortly. We've got a few of us on the out lap, and Denge in 4th place. Not looking too bad. If he can stay in that top 10, reminder, he can still qualify in 10th place. He will have to start on whatever time he sets the tyres on, as Westy takes as much curve as he dares through that first part of the lap. See what he can do on the mediums, and it's a purple in sector 1 from the Williams driver. Keep an eye further for a few more drivers. Oto's just heading back to the pits. Josh, he's also gone into the pits, so couldn't get another lap done in the end. So Westy here now coming around the Mistral chicane. Nice and smooth from the Williams driver, going up for the gears. 5, 6, 7. Onto another part of the circuit that was still used when they used the shorter Paul Ricard circuit in the late 80s and the early 90s before they moved the French Grand Prix to the Manicourt circuit in 1991. And I've got to say, I do enjoy this final sector in a Formula 1 car with all the downforce that the cars have. It must feel absolutely fantastic for the drivers if you're skilled enough to get it done. Obviously, one thing I'm definitely not skilled at on this game is driving, and that's why I'm sticking to the commentary. Westy now, final corner, gets it right. The pit entry has moved now, which is a big relief for all of the drivers. It was a bit of a shocker in previous years. That is comfortably fast enough for Westy. 8/10 quicker than everyone else. Purple everywhere, 1:30.644. That is a huge marker being laid down by last week's winner. He's trying to show that it was not a one-off performance. 6 minutes to go. We've still got 7 drivers yet to set their first lap time. Double O's just coming onto his now in the Mercedes. His teammate Droftas at the moment is 8th and in the pit lane, so see what he can do when he comes back out, because I'm sure the championship leader doesn't want to be going out in Q2 again. It doesn't seem to have done him much harm so far this season, but you definitely want to be as high up the grid as possible. Borussia has rejoined the session, thankfully, so currently 10th in the Red Bull, still yet to set a lap time. We'll see if anyone does go for these soft tyres. Double O, he's gone purple in sector 1 at the moment, so the Mercedes driver, we've been bigging him up, saying at some point he is going to get points this season. Surely he's too good not to do. Let's see what he can do today in that Mercedes. Andorero, he's just starting his flying lap as well. 5 minutes to go in this session, so I'm not sure if these guys will have enough time to get another run in after this on another set of tyres. Purple again in sector 2 for Double O. So Westy's time at the top in this qualifying session may be short-lived. Further back, the McLaren of Andorra invalidated his lap time, so he's going to have to rush around to the pits if he wants to get any higher than 14th. A lot of these drivers leaving it very late. It's going to be almost like a one-shot qualifying session here, but with traffic management could be all important. There were yellow flags in sector 2. That's just for the McLaren slowing down, but he's not holding anyone up, as it is Jonathan Cox on an outlap behind him. It's now Double O. How was the final sector for him in that Mercedes? 1:31.126. Just shows what a good job Westy did in that final sector. NUF1 now, he's just started his flying lap in the Toro Rosso. 5th place at the moment. Everyone showing as currently being on those medium tyres. It's going to be a very interesting end to the session. We said that the better race tyre, it's NUF1. He's up on his personal best through sector 1, just 700ths though. Can't really say which drivers are going to be feeling comfortable at the moment because there's so many still yet to set a lap time. A reminder of a top 10 going through into Q3. Serious Mushroom has rejoined. He was out in Q1 anyway, as has Borussia. So there does seem to be a few drivers having connection issues. Hopefully they'll be able to stay in this qualifying session. NUF1 coming now around turn 10. Signa's corner. Very difficult once you've worn your tyres out. Wasn't quite as quick in sector 2 as it was in the first sector. So let's see what the Toro Rosso can do now. He's heading around this final sector of the lap. What can the Toro Rosso do? How could he finish off his lap time? Jonathan Cox, he's across the line in 3rd position at the moment. NUF1, he's going to finish now across the line, and it is 4th place for the Toro Rosso. Slight improvement that may be good enough to get him into Q3. We'll have to wait and see. As Droftas, he's just about to start his flying lap. In fact, he's coming through the first sector right now. Needs a big performance from the championship leader.
We certainly do indeed, and thanks for covering for me there, Luke. You are a diamond as always. We're just watching Droftas make his way around into the straight now. He's got the Mistral straight dead ahead, and he'll be looking to try and re-grab a place in Q3. No doubt he's got that in his mind right now as we now watch him really bomb down the straight now. He really needs to try and pull something off to really crunch the numbers against this field. Naturally, we're reaching squeaky bum time here in Q2 as Anderoa goes P2, knocks 00 off that front row spot for now with a 130.859. Naturally, they're not contesting for grid places at the moment, but obviously it's an arm wrestle at this stage. 00 retiring, no surprises there. Great lap from him, a 131.126, definitely showing an improvement in form and no doubt looking to cement his place in Q3. Looking for the down Droftas though, making his way around on the medium tyres, determined to stay in qualifying right now. We are now within the 1.5 minute sector as he now makes his way around the final bend now. The finishing post dead ahead. What's he going to post here in this final lap? What's it going to be here in Q2? P6 there for the Newportonian, a 131.574. What a lap time indeed. And Luke, he's got to be chuffed with that.
Yeah, that should be good enough, I believe, to get him into the next stage of qualifying. If it's not, him and NUF1 will be looking pretty nervous. Nearly everyone out on track at the moment. Got Westy and 00 who've retired. Anderoa still showing, obviously, on the timing screen as having another chance at a hot lap, but he's just coming round to the pit lane. And NUF1 in the pits at the moment. It's just Borussia, Aylan, Lawrence and Josh, leaving it extremely late in this session. As I said earlier, it's basically one-shot qualifying. Yossi Heinze, don't know whether he was just doing a warm-up lap on those medium tyres, 12 at the moment. He's going to have enough time to get one more lap in. I'm not sure I'd be comfortable with leaving it this late because it is very easy around this circuit to invalidate a lap time. We've seen it done quite often already in this session.
Yeah, so he's making his way down the Mistral straight now. The Racing Point looking all business right now. Yossi Heinze looking to capture the form once again that we saw at the start of Monaco. If you might remember, he led the majority of the race, but due to a damaged front wing, he ended up dropping down the field quite considerably, allowing Paulie Orange to really pounce on the back of the Racing Point and nail down a P1 finish. But Yossi Heinze has got revenge on his mind. He's looking to nail another great performance here at the Paul Ricard circuit as he makes his way around the swooping right-hander. Very soon he'll be met with a swooping left and a couple more corners before the final home straight. What is he going to post? I mean, naturally, like you said, Luke, he was setting an initial time there on those tyres just to see where he was at. I think obviously just surveying the field, seeing where he needed to be, as we now see Josh once again go fastest with a 130.548. Phenomenal time there, knocking Westy off P1 as we see Yossi Heinze come down the street now. What's he going to post as he comes up towards the line? And it's a 132.217. It's only P12 for the Racing Point, and he is out of qualifying, Luke.
Yeah, and looking at everyone else, Nuts Asylum has invalidated his lap. Otos have gone slightly faster in the second sector, but I don't think it's going to be enough to get him into the top three. So top three looking pretty safe as it is at the moment, as Otos just comes across the line now. No, 14th in the end. And Denge left it too late to come out, so he'll be starting 12th. Wasn't able to take part in Q3 anyway, of course, but I'm sure he'll have wanted to maybe get another lap. He's saying out lap, although he's definitely pushing it hard towards the line, so we'll just wait and see here. No, actually, P7, if timing screen showing slightly wrong there. And Denge does get up into the top 10, and that does knock Paulie Orange out. He's got one final go at his. Maybe Droftas is going to be 11th once again. He seems to have made the position his own at the moment. And indeed, the Haas driver going up into 5th.
A very, very good lap from Paulie Orange, indeed, nailing a P5 there for the Haas team. Knocking Droftas out. He's become collateral damage once again, and he's down to P11. And that's where he'll start the race. And let's not forget Andenge, who's managed to get into Q3 at this stage. In fact, he has indefinitely. So he will start from P10. Because he will be retiring at the start of Q3, don't forget, folks. So that'll mean that the rest of the field will be battling for the top 9 places to start the start the Paul Ricard circuit, well, the French Grand Prix, should I say, as we now see the Haas driver there of Paulie Orange once again, wowing us all here, wowing the spectators, nailing a great time. and he'll now be mixing up with the best, trying to nail a good starting spot for the Grand Prix. As we now look through the classifications, Josh once again taking P1, and I think he's trying to make a statement, and that's a 1:35.48. Great lap from him. Westy P2 just got knocked off at the death. Borussia P3 showing pace as well. Anderoa on his first FOR race here today, here in qualifying, looking menacing. P4, Paulie Orange back again at P5, 00 showing that he is back in good form. P6, Lawrence is in Q3 and looking to press his charge against the best here in FOR. P7 for him, and Denge in P8. He will retire at the start of Q3. Jonathan Cox taking P9, and NUF1 P10, and Droftas Alien, shall I say, not Alien, being eliminated here in Q2. But it certainly looks to be a mouth-watering display for Q3, Luke.
Yeah, it should be good. Droftas just saying he's going to be starting the race on those hard tyres, so maybe not the worst strategy finishing in 11th place. Quite often it can be a very good place to start in F1, but we've now got 12 minutes of qualifying, I should say, and Josh first in qualifying 1, first in qualifying 2. Westy getting a lot closer that time around than he did first time around. It's going to be a very good session, and Borussia Paulie Orange doing well as well. I must say, great lap by Lawrence, leaving it towards the end. I think he'll be a bit happier now that he seems to be starting further up the grid. Could the Ferrari driver pull a surprise today and get pole position? Have to wait and see.
Well, Ferrari, in the history of the French Grand Prix, have actually been quite notable constructors in this event. In their history, 17 wins topping the constructors in terms of victories won all the way back in 1952 when they first won the Grand Prix, and since then they've won it on a reasonably regular basis. So there was a gap between the 50s and the 60s leading up to 1975, and they didn't even get a win in the 80s. It wasn't until 1990 where they did manage to reclaim the French Grand Prix, and Michael Schumacher being one of the reasons they won on those occasions, winning it since 1994, which would have been for Benetton, but then since then he won it on many different occasions right up to 2006. And so no doubt Ferrari, with Lawrence in the car, looking to once again strike the top of the standings. He could still do it, and there's plenty of time left here in Q3, and this is when they'll be gunslinging to see who will get P1 at the start of this French Grand Prix. It's Sophie's choice, Luke. I don't know who to call.
Yeah, unsurprisingly, obviously everyone going out on the soft tyres. We'll see if Josh can carry on his form, because he looked pretty good on both the softs and the medium, so wouldn't be surprised to see the debutant take a pole position. I don't think they're going to want to do too many laps though in this qualifying session. They might want to keep a pair of softs good for the race, especially if you see safety cars or anything towards the end of the race, because it could be a very similar situation with Canada where people diving into the pit lanes just get that pace advantage towards the end of the race. I'm going to call Josh, but I think second place pretty much anyone's guess at the moment.
Go, we might have seen a few sandbaggers, mine in Q2 and Q3, mind, you never know. Sorry, Q1 and Q2, should I say. It'll all be put to test here, and whether Josh is able to get P1 here against all these guys that will be pressing for that top spot. As we watched Jonathan Cox there just knock one of the boards off after invalidating in the first sector. Josh not far behind him though, and he is out on his fast laps. So we will ride on board with Josh just to get an insight as to where this man's pace comes from as he makes his way around the initial part of sector 1. He'll soon be reaching sector 2 now. He'll be dead ahead leading into the Mistral Straight, and no doubt he only has one intention on his mind, and that is getting P1 here in Q3 as he makes his way down towards the Cygnus right-hander. Well, it'll be the chicane first, the Mistral chicane, and then you'll continue that stretch leading down towards the Cygnus bend now. The swooping right-hander leading towards Beauset. You can just see the yellow Renault there bombing down the stretch. He does indeed go fastest in sector 2 now. He's in sector 3, making his way around Cygnus now, heading towards Beauset, and very easy on the power, and certainly he is carrying a lot of pace as he sends his car round the sector now, leading towards the Bendor bend. The left-hander, not to be confused with Bender from Futurama. This is Bendor, making his way round Garlaban, which will be a very narrow right-hander leading towards Pont. Well, Tor first before Pont, and this is the Pont bend now leading towards the home straight. You see Josh now in the Renault. What's he going to set here? The paddock on the right-hand side, and as he does so, it is going to be P1 with a 1:29.596. He's breaking the big guns out now, Luke.
Yeah, very impressive time from him. But no everyone, Bender always talks about his shiny rear end. I think a lot of people might be seeing the back of Josh's Renault rear end, but maybe not Paulie Orange. 1,000th of a second quicker than the Renault, and Andorra as well, also with a 129.5. It's looking very close at the front of this qualifying session. Maybe you're right, George. Bit of sandbagging going on in Q1 and Q2, and we're really seeing the pace, what these guys can do now.
Oh, we certainly are. Josh now really being shown the pace in this league. And I got to say, don't count out Double O, because he is only half a second away from these guys. 130, that's the early 130s, mind. And the pace really starting to shine through now. Just remember, these guys in FOR, they're no slouches, and there's bags of pace in this league. As we now look further down, just got to take a look now at Andenge and Lawrence, who are still yet to come out. Remember, they're still yet to set their laps, as we now see Double O making his way around. Unfortunately, he's obviously invalidated, but it's only his cooldown lap. Unless he was thinking of going again, I'm not sure that wouldn't make a lot of sense, because that would increase the wear on those tyres. Just looking further down, NUF1 nailing a P6 already, but like I said, early doors, folks, still all to play for. But Andorra setting a very mean lap indeed, a 129.538. Surely that's got to be menacing and really encouraging for the McLaren team in this French Grand Prix.
Yeah, great lap from Andorra. Left it late in Q2 to actually get into this session, and doing fantastic there. Looks like a few drivers might be going for only one run in this session. Bivusha still in the pits, and we've seen Jonathan Cox and Lawrence only just coming out, so have to wait and see how they can do tonight. But Paulie Orange, 1,000th of a second ahead of Josh. I'm going to call it. I think we're going to see times below that end up on pole position. Andorra's time, I don't think it's going to be good enough to get pole. We're going to see, I think, 129.3, 129.4 be around the point for pole position.
I think you could be right. I think the early 129s, maybe even break into the 128s. We could potentially see. I mean, that remains to be seen. I mean, that is sheer pace. Just watching Borussia now. He's out on his out lap right now, and obviously getting ready to commence his fast lap. And he's actually the latter of the three that are out on circuit right now. You can see the Ferrari of Lawrence is out on his out lap. He'll be commencing very shortly. And obviously not worrying about track limits for the time being, because it is only the out lap. It will not invalidate your fast lap on your next lap, unless obviously you get too close to the finish line. It gives you an advantage going into your fast lap. As he makes his way around now, you can see the Ferrari of Lawrence making his way down the straight now, and he will be commencing his fast lap now. So right on board in for the time being, and he'll be making his way down towards Parisi's, and then after that the little straight will be ahead, and that'll lead towards the Le Hotel. Sorry, my French isn't all that great. And then they'll be finding their way around Camp Corner then, which is the right-hander, almost like a double right. Mimics almost what it's almost like the large version of the one at Mexico. And Lawrence indeed goes quickest in Sector 1. So this is intriguing, folks. Ferrari showing once again their pace here in France. So let's watch him now make his way down the Mistral straight towards the Mistral chicane. And once again, if he can nail the braking and accelerating in and out of the Mistral chicane, he could get fastest in Sector 2. Let's see what he can do, folks. He makes his way out and about now, out of the chicane now as we speak. You just see above there the line leading towards Sector 3, and he goes purple again in Sector 2. This looks menacing. Makes his way around the swooping right-hander, and very soon he'll be entering the dogged section of Sector 3, where you'll need to be careful on the braking. Obviously, use the power effectively, and make sure you hit all the apexes. And as he does so, he's looking in fine Vettel as things stand. Didn't say Vettel there, Vettel, as he makes his way around this swooping right-hander, the Bender corner, and very soon he'll be going around the Pont Bend. And we'll be seeing whether the Ferrari can notch himself in the earlier stages of the classifications. He's soon going to be crossing the line now. You can see it dead ahead. Lawrence priming himself potentially for greatness as he comes across the line. No, P6. There's got to be some time lost in Sector 3 there, Luke, because he went purple Sector 1 and 2. Something was lost in Sector 3.
Yeah, I didn't see any obvious mistakes, so maybe just losing a bit of grip on the tyres and having to take it a bit more steady through that final sector. With Russia, he comes across the line just behind Lawrence now. In P7, these guys are going to have to race back to the pits if they want to get one final go in qualifying. Out of those who went earlier on, it's Double O who's now gone onto his out lap. So he's going to be, I think, the first man to finish his qualifying session. Half a second off at the moment. Can the Mercedes put it on pole position and give himself the best possible opportunity of getting his first points this season?
He certainly can, Luke. He's got all the presence of a man with pace, and I've got to say the Silver Arrows is looking menacing here in Q3. Naturally doing, well, potentially Mercedes could be in for a good day. Droftas putting his car in P11. He is happy with that arrangement. Don't forget, Droftas has pulled out some of his best finishes, are from P11, so you can't count him out. And certainly you've got to be a consistent driver around a circuit, and you've got to say 00 looking really strong. Sector 1 in purple right now as he makes his way down the Mistral Straight. Very soon he'll be starting Sector 2, and this is really encouraging for the Mercedes driver. Makes his way down towards the Mistral chicane, and let's see what this man can post. The Silver Arrows of the Mercedes team looking to increase their performance. He does invalidate, unfortunately, doesn't quite get it, so that's really going to hold him back now, and that's not going to help. Antaroa still on top, 129.538 still to beat, folks. Just seeing now Baruch is pulling into the pit lane after getting a 130.279 and unfortunately tapping the wall there with a bit of wing damage. NUF1, he's out on his outlap, so is Jonathan Cox. Once again, still all to play for. Westy out on an outlap as well. He's not satisfied with P4, looking to find those extra 3/10 to try and close on Antaroa. And we only have just under 2 minutes, folks. Keep it with us, it's getting exciting.
Yeah, I think Westy's going to be first one across the line to start his lap, and he won't have enough time to do another one after that, so everyone now definitely on their final laps. Andover just behind him. We've got NUF1 not too far behind as well, so you don't want to get too close even on this outlap to overheat tyres, especially in this final sector. Can Andover find any improvement, because it does look as though he set his car up for sector 3 to be where he is doing the best, judging by the fact that we've seen a few purple times in both sectors 1 and 2, and they've just fallen away at the last moment. But Westy, he's got just over a quarter of a second behind NUF1, slowest of those who set a time at the moment, so I think he'll just be aiming for a bit of an improvement to improve his chances in qualifying. It is only Jonathan Cox who can beat him, and Jonathan Cox again leaving it very late. Westy has invalidated his lap time, so 4th is the best a Williams driver is going to be able to do tonight.
That's not going to suit Westy one bit, and not going to help his chances of reclaiming a P1 here at the Paul Ricard circuit. Looking further down though, there's still drivers out on outlaps. You can see Lawrence is still out and about, and he'll be keen to get his car back. Whether he can get it back in time is the question, because he's only in sector 1, and we've had an incident there. I think 00 has just come off the circuit there, and unfortunately that means that he's not going to be able to set a lap time either. Just looking further down, you can just see Paulie Orange is out on his outlap. It looks like he might make it, and Josh letting the Haas driver go by now as he makes his way round towards the final bend. Let's stick it with Paulie Orange, because he could be the one to knock off Antaroa in the final stages of qualifying. Let's keep it with him, folks, and he bustles down towards turn 1 now. Let's see what he can do. He's looking incredibly menacing right now, brushes the curbs, and looking to really nail down a purple sector 1, should I say, as he makes his way down towards the next right left, heading towards a double right now. This is almost esque, like I said, of the Mexico double right-hander. Josh is right behind him as well in the Renault, so we have 2 potential drivers to knock Andrew off. Don't forget, Andrew is also out and about, but he will just about miss his final lap, and likewise will NUF1 as well as Lawrence, and I believe as well Westy has gone into the pit lane. Just seeing there the Mercedes of 00 finishing up as well, but it's between these two now, Paulie Orange and Josh. And
Andrew was improved on his lap time of 129.202, so Paulie Orange and Josh are really going to have to do something here.
You got one in at the death, and that means they've got to find at least another, well, more than 3/10, more like 4/10 at least, to try and cultivate a P1 finish. But looking at it now, Paulie Orange with Josh in hot pursuit in behind. Surely it wouldn't be stupid of me saying that these two could go one better, because I can guarantee you that you will see that between these guys as they make their way around sector 3 now. They're in the final couple of corners. It's going to be interesting to see who posts what, as we now see Paulie Orange come up round the final bend. You can see the Renault in hot pursuit as well, and the line dead ahead. Where's the Haas going to finish up in time for the race? It is going to be P3. Josh improves to P2. So that means the Renault parks itself on the front row, right in behind that of Andrew. But Andrew on his debut, netting a pole position. What a finish to qualify.
Yeah, I think they're almost going to be wishing that these debutants didn't turn up, but a great lap from Andrew and Josh to get themselves on the front row. Paulie Orange, he'll be happy with P3.
Certainly will indeed. Andrew taking P1, Josh P2, Paulie Orange P3, Westy in P4, Jonathan Cox P5, 00 P6, Lawrence P7, Borussia P8, NUF1, P9 and Dench, who could not take part in Q3 due to a ban reason, is in P10. So what can I say, folks? It's all to play for now in the race. These guys have all got quick pace, every single one of them. Don't count anybody out leading into the start of this French Grand Prix. It's a question of who can handle the circuit better, and we'll find out now as we head in to the start of the race in the formation lap. Luke, I dread to say it, I know it's difficult to call. Any tips in the race?
I think Paul Orange is going to have a point to prove from last time. Out of those starting outside of the top 10, Droftas looks good as well, obviously. See what Andenge can do, because I think he looked fairly quick as well, but we didn't get to see what he could do in Q3 because of that ban, so he is a bit of an unknown. Another driver who might do well from further back, Nuts Asylum, saying that he validated 2 laps in that Q2, and that is why he was down in 15th. So though one Ferrari got into the top 10, we could see another one trying to make up his way into the top 10 over the next 27 laps.
Could well do indeed. Like I said, folks, it's all to play for. All of these drivers have pace in this league, and certainly they're not going to leave us disappointed in this race either. Just to obviously give you some facts as well, or just a bit of an announcement, I suppose, before we start the Grand Prix. Don't forget, we will be bringing you later on this year the FOR PC Championship, brand new league that we will be bringing into Formula Online Racing. Once again, sponsored by MIXT Energy. And already we've had a flurry of great drivers come through already. One of them being Bardi Brumand, obviously the Esports Challenge Series winner. He's part of it, as well as Alvaro Aznar, Bernardo Perez, Esports Pro Draft racers as well. And not forgetting as well many others that have joined us as well. Camille Common recently signed by CRG. And many more will be joining the league as well. It's a very, very promising league, this one at FOR. And we're very excited to bring you more in the future. And so make sure you stay with us and stay tuned, because it's only going to get more and more exciting. We're just now following these guys down the Mistral straight now. Anderoa leading the contingent of cars down the straight now, and they're all warming up those tyres, getting the brakes ready, prepped for the start of this Grand Prix. Josh on his debut. Can we get another debut winner? I mean, I've got to say, we do have a habit here of FOR of getting debut winners, Luke. Could we be seeing that again?
Definitely wouldn't surprise me. Could we see someone finally get their 3rd podium of the season, though? You'd be surprised if that doesn't happen with Paulie Orange being there in 3rd place. It's just, can he keep it clean with the penalties? How far can Droftas get up the field? Borussia as well. We were expecting a bit more from him, but didn't get out for that 2nd lap in Q3 in time. Neither did Lawrence. That's why both of them are on the 4th row. I think there's a lot of drivers that'll be not necessarily disappointed, but feeling that they could have done a tiny bit better in that qualifying session. There was a pretty big gap between 3rd and 4th place. Westy invalidated his last lap, of course. Could he make it 2 wins in a row not long after Paulie Orange made it 2 wins in a row? Won't have long to find out.
No, they're just about to line up now onto the grid, and very soon we'll be calling the start of this Grand Prix. Like Luke was saying, many questions to be answered here at the Paul Ricard. Can we get a 3rd podium this season? Can we, or will we see Josh take P1 to continue the good form of all newcomers here at FOR? Or will Droftas stay P1 in the championship? Or will Borussia correct the mistake he made at Canada and take P1 here? We'll soon find out as they begin to line up onto the grid. The back of the grid now beginning to set itself in place in its positions. Now the engines are starting to rev, folks. The lights are soon about to go red. And keep it with us here. 1st light, 2nd light, 3rd light, 4th light, the 5th light! And it's pedal to the metal, go, 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 go! And Andrew gets away well, but so does Josh in the Renault equally, side by side as they make their way down towards turn 1, but Josh has the upper hand. The straight line speed of the Renault making its way through. Westy bombs into P2, Andrew again, a particularly bad start, drops down to P3, loses the pace that he initially had. Let's not forget the Haas driver, Paulie Orange, in amongst the cluster of cars in front. The racing points coming into play as well. Borussia and Yossi Aitzer going toe-to-toe around the bend, and the other Red Bull of Autos battling hard there with NUF1. Oh, there's been an instant there further back. A very, very dramatic start, Luke. It's certainly once again all to play for. Safety car already. Yeah, there was chaos in the background. I think we'll just start with the front of that race. Paulie Orange got a fantastic start from 3rd place. Josh getting a great start
in second. That allowed him to take the lead. Paul Ricard's just got a bit held up behind the McLaren. Westy saying thank you very much. All the opportunity he needed to just sweep around the outside of both Anderoa and Paul Ricard to get himself up into second place. Something happened quite far back. I think the McLaren of Alan, he's got damage. Both Alfa Romeos were involved, but not sure if either of them have any damage. More importantly, championship leader Droftas and his Mercedes teammate down there, Double O, completely missing his front wing. I'm not sure that's a gadget that Q's put on the car because it's not going to help him much in this race, but thankfully for him, it is a safety car and he'll be able to get back round.
It's really unfortunate there for Double O, obviously looking to change his fortunes here around this race, and naturally today he's not going to lighten his spirits whatsoever. Obviously we didn't really see what went on towards the mid part of the grid, and obviously a little bit of a shocker there. He's making his way around nonetheless, and these guys, like you said before, we did in fact say that a safety car would mean a lot for these drivers, obviously to get the faster pacing tyre, and indeed Otos goes into the pits and further down, so does NUF1 and Denge as well. Alan comes into the pits as well to change the hard tyres. We're looking as well, Double O will no doubt come into the pits, but a lot of them staying out though, Luke, and keeping the original compounds on, so that's quite interesting. But nonetheless, around the safety car, not a lot of treadwear will be left on the circuit.
Yeah, and I imagine it's just a bit too early to pit now and maybe get those hards towards the end and be able to keep them in any decent condition by any means. Oto's also having to change his front wings. I wonder if he was involved in that incident. I did see Double O off at turn 1 and 2, and then a few more of the Alphas on the run to turn 2 and 3, so I'm not sure if it was one big incident or a few separate ones, but after all that's happened, the front few remaining relatively unchanged. I think the big winner on that first lap out of those drivers in the points, those further down the order, Jossi Heinz has gone up 5 places, Dr. Silem up 6, Hebelu up 7 positions. Great chance for the Toro Rosso driver to get a good result tonight now. Just keeping these tyres in good conditions and keeping it careful under the safety car. We've already seen Andenge get himself a drive-through penalty for speeding under the safety car. That pretty much puts him out of contention tonight, unless we see another incident later on in the race.
Yes, obviously with the close proximity between these guys and the pace that they all share, any penalties are decisive. Certainly at Canada, it was very decisive then. Paulie Orange losing his P1 after looking like he had P1 on the track, due to obviously the tightly contested battles going on up front due to the safety cars we did have during that race. It in fact led to him being knocked out of the podium positions, and hence why we still have no driver having 3 periods on the podium. It's insane, really. It's an insane fact if you think about it. Certainly considering we've had 8 races here. This is the 8th race here in this season of FOR, and you would have thought even someone like Paulie Orange or even Borussia, even to get a P3 or a P2 or a P1, as well as the victories they've had or other podiums they have received, to make it 3 times on the podium. But it's just unreal to see that none of them have been able to do that. But naturally, under the safety car, they're once again going to be clumped together, so it's whoever gets the best start on the restart and who can make the most out of the fresher tyres. Naturally, Droftas now in amongst that has managed to rise up to P13. He's got hards that he started on, and let's not forget that wouldn't have really damaged his strategy too much, because he was able to benefit with drivers going into the pit lane. He can conserve those hard tyres even longer and therefore stay out maybe just a tad longer than what he would have originally planned, and he can still yet pick a result out in this racing.
Yeah, the longer this goes on, the more likely you might see him go onto the softs towards the end of the race. Same with Nuts Asylum and Artiero as well. That could give him a good chance of getting the fastest lap. Quick reminder that here at FOR, even if you finish outside the top 10, you can still get a point for the fastest lap, so no reason to give up, even if you're right at the back of the field. Speaking about the consistency point, I think now is usually the point in a lot of league racing seasons where you see drivers becoming more and more consistent. I've seen championship contenders really coming to the fore, so can't see that no drivers having 3 podium record lasting for too much longer, especially with the pace some of the guys like Paulie Orange, Westy, Borussia, even Droftas and his teammate as well are showing. But with these new guys up front, Josh at the moment leading this race and safety car coming in this lap, that effectively means he is the safety car at the moment. Can he get the restart under control? no DRS, of course, for the first 2 laps after the safety car.
No, that's right. And Ferrari looking actually in really, really good shape in the start of this Grand Prix. Don't forget, Lawrence now in P6. He wasn't affected by the start. And Nuts Asylum, he managed to worm his way into P9. So with all the chaos going on, managed to slip himself through. The Ferrari's now occupying 2 spots in the top 10. And that will give them great points going into the end of this Grand Prix. Can they finally get the results they've been looking for here at France? It could very well be their day. Nuts looking to increase his prospects, obviously due to the great run of form he's been having both in F1 and in F2. Far more improved since his return, and just seeing there an end plate flying about. I don't know where that's come from. But
the Russians maybe, because he's dropped back. Well, what was it, Jossi Heinze? Jossi Heinze got a penalty for a serious collision and he's had to head into the pits, but we're restarting now. Josh seems to have got a pretty good restart, but having chaos even under the safety car here, because Borussia has dropped a few places. Jossi Heinze in the pits, but it's all nice and clear out of the front. Josh getting a good restart there.
He is, and he's holding on to P1. You can see he's 4/10 above Westy right now. Westy's still trying to stay in proximity. Jossi Heinze has indeed left, so we have had our first retirement of the session. Jossi Heinze out of the race. And, well, if he's out of the race or whether he's just disconnected, I don't know. But his car has indeed pitted. Josh just in front there. You can see Westy just parked in behind Josh in the Renault as they make their way down the Mistral straight. Looking further back, you got Andrew still 7/10 behind that of Westy, still yet to come into play, but naturally still a long way to go in this race. Droftas making a move on Serious Mushroom dancing wide there at the Mistral straight, and therefore NUF1 managing to creep through, and so does Andenge. Whether there's an issue with the car of Serious Mushroom, I don't know. I can't see any serious damage there or any damage at all as they make their way through the Mistral chicane, and just tucked in behind his Autos, he is all over the back of that Haas. Just looking further up though, Droftas in P11, only a second behind Artillero now, looking to regain more positions. He's done extremely well since the restart after the safety car, so this is his chance now to really hammer home on this race, make the most of the hard tyres that he has got, and maybe, like you say, Luke, get those softs on towards the end of the race.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be another recovery drive from Droftas. Did it last time out in Canada to pick up some of the lower reaches of the points. Can he do a bit better this time around? That bit of incident that happened between Jos and Borussia promoted Nuts Asylum up into 7th place, so Ferrari 6th and 7th, and Nuts, lead guy who started on those hard tyres, he could be looking very good at the moment. And Denge coming into the pits now for his drive-through penalty, so that's going to drop the Alfa Romeo to the back of the field. Nuts Asylum could soon have Borussia all over the back of him, of course. But it's been a great restart from Josh to pull away from Westy, and Westy seems to be doing a good job of keeping the McLaren behind him as well.
We're just running on board now with Droftas now. He's just managed to pull the gap back between him and Artillero within 0.2 of a second. Now it's 4/10. He's right on the gearbox there of the Alfa Romeo car as they make their way onto the Mistral straight. And this is where he is able to make the most here of his Mercedes engine and try and power through past Artillero. Artillero dances left to try and stay in the position here. Can he defend it going through the Mistral chicane? You can just see it dead ahead, and Droftas lit on the brakes, plows on through, and he does it, but Artillero spins out there a little bit, and he is off the track. I'm not sure what happened altogether. Very fast pace going into the Mistral chicane, and that sends Droftas into the top 10. But what a display of battling between those two, Luke.
Yeah, Artillero does now have a missing right front wing end plate, so I'm not sure if that happened before or after that, because that would help to explain maybe why Droftas was all over the back of him. I'm surprised Droftas didn't go for the slipstream as much, actually come down the Mistral straight, but in the end he is in 10th place. Hibilo will be his next target. Borussia has managed to get past the Nuts Asylum now. DRS enabled, so everyone who's within a second of the car in front will be able to make use of that. And with the McLaren of Andrew has just fallen outside of that, so can Paulie Orange try and retake that third position, because he's going to have his best opportunity now, of course.
Yes, well, Borussia now, after overtaking the Nuts Asylum, is now, well, now he has his eye on Lawrence, and he's currently 2 seconds behind the other Ferrari car, and will be looking to really close the gap and try and get an overtake in as they make their way in lap 6. They're going round towards the Sector 2 part of the circuit, but they are in Sector 2 now, leading towards the Mistral straight. Just dead ahead, you can see Lawrence there. That gap still maintaining 2 seconds, so you can see very much see the Nuts Asylum still very much in the slipstream there of Borussia. He's not
not escaped him just yet, and those hard tyres, that Asylum seems to be managing them extremely well right now. And like you say, Luke, as long as he keeps it clean, he keeps it careful, he could well figure at the end of this race, as long as he can maintain that pace that he has been achieving. Just ahead of him, obviously, Borussia currently 2 seconds ahead, like we said before. Well, 1.5 seconds ahead, 2 seconds behind Lawrence, so that gap is dropping slightly. So Lawrence naturally needs to try and maintain his pace. He has got Jonathan Cox ahead of him, 1.5 seconds separates those two as well. But the current closest gap we've got is between Alan and Double O. Remember, Double O had that damage earlier on in the race, therefore he had to pit early. Alan currently all over the back of him. You can just see there the Haas in front as well. Serious Mushroom and Oto's coming to blows as well as they make their way around. And Oto's doing his damnedest to try and get past this Haas as they make their way around sector 3 now. Very soon they'll be on the home stretch. Serious Mushroom, I gotta say, from the glory days of SSR, he has managed to cultivate himself some good results in the past here in FOR. And once again, he's proven to be a force to be reckoned with in this race here at the Paul Ricard. As now we see Oto's making a move here on the Haas there of Serious Mushroom into turn 1 there, and I think he's managed to do it round the Battery S's now, and he does so. They're going toe to toe, and he's done it. And Serious Mushroom at the mercy of Double O, who's having a recovery drive of his own here. The Mercedes cars really have it all to do, but he makes it up into P13. Nearly had a look at Oto's there as well, but a double overtake. Commiserations there to Serious Mushroom.
Yeah, he just took too much of the inside line at turn 2, and I think knew if he went past Oto's, he'd get himself in big trouble. Oto's has gone way wide there. That Double O has managed to get past him, and he's got DRS, as Oto's in fact has spun and lost his front wing. So nightmare for the Red Bull driver, virtual safety car, and he has retired from the session. So he's the first official retirement. You've got José Heinze still going around as an AI car. I still think it's a bit too early though for these guys who started on the medium tyres to pit now under the VSC, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yes, it's a VSC on this occasion, folks. No safety car just as yet. Oto's, like Luke said, has indeed left the session. He has retired. Just looking further up, let's not forget we've got Jonathan Cox in behind Paulie Orange as well. Well, pretty much the top 5 unchanged. Obviously, since the restart of the safety car, not a lot of battling has occurred. Andrew, though, has managed to, well, it looked like he managed to close the gap, and he has indeed, because Josh has decided to pit those medium tyres. Not bad timing, I don't think, considering, and Westy has done the same as well. Could this be crucial towards the end of this Grand Prix? Naturally, now Andrew, Paulie Orange, Jonathan Cox, and Lawrence, as well as Borussia, all on 7-lap old medium tyres. Now, that is an interesting thing. Now, whether that will be a big complex towards the end of this race, whether they're just going to stick with their strategies and not change anything, it could throw up quite a few questions here as Aylan manages to dodge by Josh now, and Josh looking to get the counter going, but the McLaren holding firm here as they make their way down towards the Mistral Straight once again, and Josh probably didn't expect the McLaren to jump in front of him like that, but it looked like he tried to get the re-overtake done, but he just could not get it done there, Luke.
Yeah, I think the virtual safety car ended just at the right time for these guys. If it ended a few seconds earlier, they'd have lost more time, wouldn't have found themselves any further down the order, but they are now in a bit of traffic. Josh will have DRS this time around, but so will Aylan, so this could be pretty tough to get past these guys. I'm sure Andrew and Paulie Orange will be hoping they get held up, and actually those two nearly going side by side through sickness, and McLaren just holding on here. Will this battling allow Jonathan Cox, Lawrence and Borussia to close the gap?
Certainly will. You can just see there in our footage here in the comms box, well, from the cameras there, you can see the Haas getting ever closer to the back of Andorra, and we know about Paulie Orange. We know he's a race winner already this season, twice in fact, and he's already diving down the inside here at the final corner. The Haas, the American Haas of Paulie Orange going toe to toe here with Andorra as they make their way down towards the Ferrari S's, and it is indeed Paulie Orange taking P1 here in lap 9 of 27. Andorra now has got it all to do because Jonathan Cox on the outside trying to make his way past Andorra. Andorra goes wide. Jonathan Cox still in the stream here. They're getting toe to toe now, ball on ball. You can see Lawrence just in behind, 2/10 off, and indeed Andorra holds firm, claims on 2, and Paulie Orange in all the madness has increased the gap to over a second, Luke.
Oh, and Andrew has gone round as well. Jonathan Cox held up in the back of him. There's going to be damage, and Borussia and all that just says thank you very much. He gets himself up into second place, and Lawrence has got missing part of his front wing as well. So Jonathan Cox and Andrew just got too close together. That all started when Anderoa coming round the penultimate corner, just a bit too much throttle, started losing the rear end, and that opened the door for Paulie Orange, and it's all gone wrong for him, and Lawrence getting caught up in that as well. Damage to both end plates. He's surely going to have to pit. Jonathan Cox, he will also have to come into the pit. So Paulie Orange and Borussia, the only winners out of that. Jonathan Cox, Lawrence and Anderoa, big losers. Josh and Westy, I think if they know what's happened up front, they'll have a bit of a wry smile on their face after that.
Well, looking at it at this stage, Anderoa, no damage on his car just as yet, no end plate damage anyway. And indeed, you can see that Jonathan Cox is slowing up on Borussia right now. That gap is starting to increase to now 1.4 seconds. And he does indeed jump in the pit lane. Lawrence following suit as well. Borussia moves up to P2. He is now chasing Paulie Orange, and this has worked out incredibly well for Borussia, but Paulie Orange as well, who's actually in fact increased his lead to 3 seconds plus, and Nuts Asylum has managed to move up to P3 in all the chaos. So the hard-tired the Nuts Asylum now can make the most of this opportunity now, Luke, because he won't have to pit till later on, and the way things are set, potentially jump on the softs with just probably around 10 laps remaining. So this is a great chance for the Nuts Asylum to really stamp his authority and try and claim his first win of the season here. Could he do it, Luke?
I think it's going to be tough because Paulie Orange and Borussia are looking really good at the moment, but podium is definitely on the cards. Just have to wait and see if anything else happens. Josh in 8th at the moment, Westy in 10th. Further down, you can see how much time it's cost him. Jonathan Cox and Lawrence now about 15 seconds behind Josh and Westy, and Westy currently at this moment is just making a move past Serious Mushrooms to take 9th place. But Borussia, sometimes then you need a bit of luck, and he just managed to avoid all that carnage. Lawrence, he was the first car on the scene, he was just a bit too close to react. Borussia had a bit more time, he's got himself clear from it, but once again Lawrence, he just always seems to be in the wrong place at the wrong time lately.
He does, yeah, he seems to be treading with a little bit of bad luck, maybe a bit of misfortune here, but good to see the Ferrari are still within a chance of claiming something in this race. The Nuts Asylum managing to scoop his way into P3. Borussia still though in P2, and that gap between him and Paulie Orange has not shortened. It's still over 3 seconds as it stands, 3.2 seconds to be exact, though they are on similar stretches of tyres, and we would be more than likely seeing them pit potentially maybe in the next few laps. As we now look below now, Double O has managed to replenish himself now, and he goes side by side with Habilu going into turn 1, and he swoops past the Toro Rosso there, and the Silver Arrows doing the business, claiming P4, and Drofdas has moved up to P7 as well. So the recovery mission here by Mercedes has gone quite well, Luke. They're looking in good form.
Yeah, Double O. Mossa, I just noticed that as well. Doing a fantastic job to get himself into 4th place at the moment. Drofdas in 7th. He'll be now running a similar race to the Nuts Asylum. Just got to try not to worry about those behind him, because Josh and Westy will be on better tyres. DRS might help him stay ahead of both of them, so he could end up holding up these two guys, and that is what Paulie Orange and Borussia up front will need. That gap is staying constant at just under 3.5 seconds now. I think it's anyone's guess who's going to come out with victory today. We've still got 16 and a bit laps to go, of course. Paulie Orange leading at the moment, but Josh 18 seconds behind, and he has made a pit stop, although Westy has severely closed that gap now.
He has, and they're both on hard tyres, similar stretch of hard tyres. It's interesting, Westy is now only 3/10 behind Josh, and Josh, who looked to have the pace in qualifying, has now got to contest with a very venomous Williams here that looks to be in very pacey form at the moment. You can just see Westy in behind there. Remember, he won the Canadian Grand Prix last week, and no doubt he'll be looking to once again try and reclaim another podium. As you can see there, Josh in the distance there, making the final turn towards the home stretch now, and the Renault has got the Williams right in his sights here. We're just looking now, Borussia goes into the pits, and he's gone in for fresh hard tyres, so he's looking to go to the end now. So that's interesting. Let's see if that pays off for him. Ayla moves into the top 10. Serious Mushroom still there in his Haas car. And I've got to say the complexities of this race have changed vastly. A lot of the drivers that we did expect to see towards the front of the grid. Remember, we've still got plenty of laps remaining, but it certainly did not figure like this, or we didn't have this in our mind's eye as we now look further up. Still Josh trying to keep Westy off his back, but he's managed to catch up with Drofdas, who in turn has caught up with NUF1. Currently half a second separating those two, which is music to Josh's ears, because he can now chase on Drofdas, use the pacey 4-lap old hards, which are probably about warm enough now to really close the gap. Hibilu in P4, looking like he's going to be fodder for his teammate right now.
Yeah, he's going to be the cork in the bottle. He should let NUF1 through pretty soon, I imagine. Otherwise, the second Toro Rosso at the moment is going to get held up pretty severely through this final sector. So we'll wait and see if there is a swap around. Not at the moment. I can't imagine Hibilu's going to make things too hard for him, but the dirty air will be beginning to affect that second Toro Rosso at the moment. So I imagine he'll get in on the blower to his teammate, if they are in communication, of course. Just reminding him that they are on different strategies at the moment. Further back, just seeing swap positions between Lawrence and Jonathan Cox. And indeed, Hibilu diving into the pit lane on those medium tyres. Perhaps unsurprising. Paulie Orange, he's doing a good job on those mediums, but they are going to be past their best at the moment. And there's no way I can see him going long enough to make a soft tyres work for the final stint. So I think he's going to just have to come into the hards sooner rather than later, because they'll be fresher than those around him, but I don't think they'll be fresh enough to make the pace difference that this undercut from Borussia, Josh and Westy is going to need.
Well, best I think we can hope for, certainly for Paulie Orange's concern. I reckon probably in the next couple of laps he's going to be looking to pit, because I can't imagine him wanting to stay out on them for too long. Remember, we're not even at the halfway stage yet. We've still got another lap or so before we are at that crucial halfway stage. So that's Asylum though, only 11, well currently I say only, but he's 11 and nearly 12 seconds behind Paulie Orange right now, but still holding that P2 place. Remember, those hard tyres now probably last quite considerably longer, and he's only amassed 12 laps on him. He's 11.8 seconds behind Paulie Orange right now. Double O in P3. He's managed to really recover his drive, but no doubt he's going to have to go into the pits in the next couple of laps as well, possibly for a stint on the hards, no doubt as well. Josh has managed to work his way up. Naturally, he's got 5 lap old hards on, and he's technically back into the race now. He's managed to get past NUF1. Westy still yet to do so. Droftas, remember, he was behind NUF1. He's dropped back considerably. NUF1 managing to creep by the other drivers now, and really start to try and put the pace on, because he's trying to keep up with Josh right now. Remember, he has also got Westy, who we're on board with right now, right up and close and personal with him right now. They're just making their way through the last few bends before the home stretch, and they'll be commencing their lap 14 as Nuts Asylum goes ahead. Paulie Orange indeed pits, and this is where strategies will decide who comes out on top, Luke.
Yeah, Paulie Orange pitting, Double O pitting as well. Westy, he's behind NUF1. Can he get the move done into turn 1? No, he cannot. And this is just going to cost him from Josh, because he will be outside of DRS range when they next go around. Westy again looking very racy on the back of NUF1. Might be better for the Toro Rosso to just let him by, and he has done, because NUF1 and Drofty are in different races at the moment. You don't want to hold yourself up, wear those tyres out too much, because they may be looking to put those softs on towards the end of the race. But Nuts Asylum in the lead of the race. I don't think he was expecting that after qualifying in 50, but he's kept it clean so far, and definitely, gotta say, looks good for a good points haul here tonight.
Certainly not, and Josh in P2 really starting to try and pull back against the Ferrari of Nuts Asylum. Currently 4.5 seconds separating the two at this stage, and that gap is only going to shrink, because naturally Josh with the younger tyres on, and they will be nicely warm now, surely would carry more grip than that of an earlier set of hards, and he can make the most of them now. And that gap though has gone out to 5 seconds. So Nuts actually managing to do rather well on his compound. We are in lap 14.27 over the halfway stage now, folks. So this is when we'll start to really see these drivers really gun for P1 in this race. And it'd be very interesting to see who has the better of the strategies. Looking for the down, Droftas in P5. He's only 2 tenths behind NUF1 now. NUF1 has conceded that place to Westy. And Westy was probably glad to see the back of the Williams, because naturally he's got Josh to chase. He's only got a second to find before he catches up with that Renault. Just incidentally, Josh managing to pull back the time now. He is now back within the 4.7, 4.6 second mark, and that's quickly now 4.5 seconds now. And so he is trying to eat at that time, separating him and the Nuts Asylum. As close as he can get to the Nuts Asylum would be the better, because Nuts still has to pit, and therefore he can take absolute lead of this Grand Prix.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if Nuts Asylum pits before Josh actually does catch him up to get DRS. So I think next couple of laps we'll be seeing the Ferrari come to the pits. Paulie Orange actually came out better from that pit stop phase than I expected. It's quite a long way ahead of Borussia, not too far behind Josh and Westy as we see the Haas go past the Mercedes. He's going to get the Toro Rosso done as well. That just worked out brilliantly
Phenomenal
for the Haas driver.
Great move there from Paulie Orange there. Double overtake going down the Mistral straight, going into the Mistral chicane. And on the outset, he is in P4. And he's got bags of pace. Those very, very fresh, hard tyres looking menacing as well. Remember, he's got 6 laps now on Josh and Westy. So this is going to be a very complex finish. Can Paulie Orange net a 3rd victory this season, which would be crucial in the driver's standings, because he can push himself up yet again. And remember, he finished 4th last week. He is getting ever closer to the back end of Droftas's tally in P1 of the championship. So it'll be interesting to see whether Paulie Orange can indeed take the championship lead, because I believe, based on results here today, if he can do so, he will be our championship leader by the end of play today if he nets P1, Luke.
Yeah, but I think there's still a chance Droftas might be able to stay ahead, but I think that's only if Droftas finishes in 2nd place, and that's not looking too likely at the moment, seeing as he's in 6th for the still to fit, and Paulie Orange, DRS assisted, fastest lap, so looking very good at the moment in the Haas. He's now just 2.3 seconds behind Westy, who's got within that all-important second of Josh. It's just hovering around that, so whether he's in it at the DRS detection point could be all important. They are catching up about a second a lap to the Nuts Asylum, but that can just be explained by the tyre life. So Nuts Asylum, what you've got to do when you're on this different strategy, just try and ignore everyone around you. It's a bit more of a time trial. Just keep it going. Think about your own race. Don't bother battling with those who are on faster tyres than you, because it will just lose you a chunk of time.
Well, Borussia now making a move on the inside of Aylin there, and I've got to say, this is smoothly does it. They're absolutely loving the straight line speed at the Mistral straight here at the Paul Ricard circuit, and Borussia in the Red Bull has managed to overtake the McLaren of Aylin, and looking in good fine fettle there on his 4-lap old hards. He is now behind Droftas, only 2 seconds separating them now. Droftas surely has got his one eye open at the moment, looking behind him, because Borussia is carrying a lot of pace right now and looking to claw his way back up into the top 5 without a shadow of a doubt. And certainly with the way his tyres are going right now, he can last them right until the end of this race. It's going to be a real tussle towards the end of this Grand Prix, folks. I don't know where it's going to go. All these guys carrying bags of pace, overtakes galore here at the Paul Ricard circuit. It certainly is a French delicacy, to say the least, Luke.
Yeah, Josh saying fastest lap. I'm not surprised to see Droftas come into the pits. He was being held up quite badly by the Toro Rosso. Just can he make 11 laps last? He's gone for the medium tyres. I was just about to suggest, actually, before we came into the pits, that I might be better off doing that. He was just losing a lot of time between the Toro Rosso, behind the Toro Rosso driver, who was much faster throughout certain points of the circuit, just couldn't get the move done. He is now going to come out, I believe it might be 14th place. I think Himilu's just going to get him. So he's got some work to do if he wants to make his way into the points, of course, but still Aylin and Denge and NUF1 to pit. Could this be the race where we see Droftas lose his championship lead? But still, 10.5 laps to go, a lot can change.
Certainly can, and I've got to say the time gaps are quite separated now. Jonathan Cox, though, on his 7-lap old hards, he's 7/10 behind Double O right now. Double O with fresher medium tyres on. Very, very complex issue in terms of tyres in the midfield, because relatively they're on very, very different strategies. You can see there Lawrence on 7-lap old hards, behind him Andreroa on 7-lap old hards. We still haven't seen them crunch the numbers in the top 6 or top 5 just yet, and I've got to say, it's still all to play for. Jonathan Cox, though, on his 7-lap old hards, trying to gun down Double O, but that gap is now increasing to 1.1 seconds, and he's going to really have to put the pace on now if he's to catch up with that Mercedes, who has got the faster medium compound on, so got to be wary of that. Racing Point really needs to pick up the pace. Currently, both of them outside the top 10. Yossi Heinze DNFing, I believe, earlier on in the session, and in fact he did pull into pit lane. I don't think his car's retired. It's still carrying out on track right now, though it is ghosted, so he is in effect out of this Grand Prix. And Denge moves above. There's a couple of pits there. Aylin moving into the pit lane, so is NUF1. No surprises there. They've gone for the fresh mediums. That should see them out to the end of this Grand Prix, as we are within the 10-lap period of this race now. We're just watching Denge in P6 right now, 16-lap old mediums underneath him. He's got to do all he can to try and keep the car in P6. I wouldn't be surprised to see him jump in the pit lane soon to put on a fresh pair of soft tyres, as we now see Lawrence trying to claw the pace back. He knows he's on 8-lap old hards. He can carry those to the end. He just needs to gun down on Andenge, but be wary, Andreroa is only 6/10 behind him.
Yeah, Jonathan Cox doesn't seem to be enjoying these hard tyres as much as Lawrence and Andreroa did, because he was around these two earlier on. In fact, Lawrence has got past him in this stint already. So not all is lost for the Ferrari driver, because you've got to say he must be looking good for a top 6 finish at the moment. Out in front, Josh managing to get ahead of the Nuts Asylum, who is doing a good job still on those hard tyres. Well, I think it's only a matter of time before he ditches those. Now got Westy behind him. Paulie Orange still staying at about 1.5 to 2 seconds behind these guys. Are we going to see a freeway battle for the victory? 9 laps to go at the end of this one. It's Josh for Nuts Asylum and Westy at the moment. But I think further back, Lawrence is definitely going to want to keep Anderoa behind him and maybe prove a point, because he tried to overtake earlier, as did Jonathan Cox, and it didn't end cleanly for any of them. And the Ferrari driver really needs a good result today to get his championship challenge back on track.
Yeah, so Westy now getting really close and personal behind the Nuts Asylum, but this move is crucial because he needs to try and get close to Josh as possible. Josh obviously hoping that the Nuts Asylum keeps that Williams behind him for as long as possible to try and increase the gap between Josh and Westy. Both of them on the same stretch of tyres, both on 11 laps. Paulie Orange on a fresher compound though, he's only 1 second behind Westy right now, and Westy remembers their battle at Canada, and no one can forget about that as Westy now makes a move on the Nuts Asylum, going down towards the Mistral chicane, and he gets it done. He moves into P2, and he's now got Josh dead ahead of him. Nuts Asylum now in P3. He's got to be wary of the attack of Paulie Orange now, 8 tenths behind the Ferrari right now. The Prancing Horse needs to do all he can. He weaves to the left, having a look down the inside of the Williams and Westy. It would seem futile on that age of hard compound tyres to try and make a move on the repeat, but maybe he can, because the hards, like I say, with the grip levels, they don't differ that much through age as such. Because they tend to be quite slippery anyway regardless. It tends to be the driver's skill on the circuit that defines how good those tyres are, as we now see the Nuts Asylum in P3 still maintaining a gap between him and Westy right now, but Paulie Orange zooming ever closer to the back end of that red car, and indeed the Nuts Asylum dives into the pit lane, no doubt for a fresh pair of softs.
Yeah, further back, the other Ferrari, Lawrence, just seen him lose it slightly in the final sector. He had been passed by Anderoa, and now Double O has got ahead of him as well. So Lawrence moving down into 9th position. Still a couple of seconds clear of Jonathan Cox. Double O looking good though on those medium tyres, and Denge coming in as well. Nuts Asylum on the softs. What can he do towards the end of the race? And I imagine Denge will be putting the soft tyres on as well. That is going to promote Rofdas back into the points.
Yeah, well, NUF1 now picking up the fastest lap, 1:33.973 on the medium tyres, and that's no surprise. A lot of the fastest laps we've seen during this race have been on the hard compounds, which is interesting. Not something you see all the time here, but naturally around a fast degradation circuit for tyres like France, it can really cause a number on your tyre grip, and surely it's no surprise to see that the hard tyres have taken prominence in this race. But now looking, Double O is making a move now on the outside of Anderoa, and they're going wheel to wheel down towards the Mistral chicane, and indeed Double O taking advantage on, no surprise there to be honest, because actually 7 tenths the difference between the two compounds, and the Silver Arrows taking P5 almost with ease, going through to the Mistral chicane. Let's not forget Lawrence though, he is just behind Anderoa at the moment, 1.2 seconds behind. He could very well turn up the heat and try and close the McLaren, but Double O at the moment looking good in P5 right now. What a recovery drive from this man, and no doubt he'll be going to the end on that compound. Just look at the top 5 we have in this race, not to mention the top 6, even more than that. All fast drivers, Luke. It's difficult to even decipher a winner out of these lot.
Yeah, Paulie Orange, he's definitely still got the pace, setting the fastest lap on the race on those hard tyres. Now just 1.5 seconds separating all the top 3. I think Double O needed to get past that McLaren pretty quickly, because the Nuts Asylum is going to be closing right on the back of all these guys sooner rather than later on his red wall soft tyre. So maybe next time around we'll see a fastest lap from the Ferrari driver. I just had a quick look at the penalty situation. At the moment, Josh has 1 penalty, and Westy and Paulie Orange are both clear, but Westy only 1 warning away from a penalty himself. So has Paulie Orange learnt his lesson from last time around? Because if he keeps it clean, he could have a great chance of taking the victory here today.
He certainly can. Paulie Orange looking to get redemption after what happened at Canada. Remember, he was the one who got the penalties and got booted out of the podium places. That crucial 3rd podium that has been so elusive for us this season in FOR. No driver yet to complete it, and we're looking like we're on course here for Paulie Orange to be the first driver to net 3 podiums this season, and indeed the first season of FOR. In the Haas car, you can just see touting on the back of Westy's Williams, and I've got to say the Haas is looking the more menacing of the 3 right now. Josh still maintaining P1, albeit by 0.6 of a second. Though further back, Paulie Orange has now whittled his gap to Westy down to 0.4. So indeed, we've got nearly just over a second between these guys. It's all to play for, folks. We're only in lap 21 of 27. We've got 6 laps of this yet. And he opens up the DRS, and he could well make a move yet. Though Westy does have DRS on Josh as they make their way down. Josh is the vulnerable one at this stage. No DRS, obviously, for first place. And that puts him almost in a sitting duck position, depending, though, how he manages the circuit. Remember, Paulie Orange with the better tyres on. 8 laps on his car, compared to 14 laps on both Josh and Westy.
Yeah, they're all fairly low on their ERS as well, their electrical hybrid energy given by these new modern engines. Unsurprisingly, not to Xylem, fastest lap. He's now right on the back of Jonathan Cox. If I was Paulie Orange, maybe just a bit of ERS saving, taking advantage of the double toe that you are going to get, and that could be all he needs to get a victory out on track here today. Still 5.5 laps to go. Josh, Westy, Paulie Orange. I don't feel confident calling this one, George, of who's going to be the victory today. But you might as well toss a coin up in the air, and you're going to have to get some sort of free-sided coin, obviously, but it's anyone's guess.
Well, it's a difficult one to call, I think, as we now watch Nuts Asylum go toe-to-toe with Jonathan Cox going down the Mistral Straight, leading towards the chicane, and indeed, Droftats gets it done on those fresh red, soft tyres now. They're looking particularly pacey, and once again, considerably continuing his good form at the moment now. In lap 22 of 27, he has got Lawrence dead ahead. He's only 2.5 seconds away from his teammate now as he makes his way towards the second part of the Mistral Straight. Allian moves up to P12 as well. Still all to play for, folks. Nothing is complete just yet, and the intervals between the top 3 are minuscule right now. 4/10 separating each driver from their respective car. Westy currently 5/10 now behind Josh, and Paulie Orange getting ever closer to the back of the Williams. No doubt they have got intentions on their mind to try and take the positions of these drivers. It's going to be insane, this final 4 laps of this Grand Prix. It certainly has been an intoxicating watch, and I'm absolutely loving it as they make their way through the next couple of bends. Josh still maintaining P1, albeit 4/10 separating him and Westy as they make their way around the double right-hander, and you can see that Williams getting ever closer. Paulie Orange really swarming all over the back of the Williams as well. You can just see them now as they make their way down the Mistral Straight. Is this Westy's chance to really pounce on Josh as they make their way down the Mistral Straight, leading towards the chicane? And you can see Paulie Orange is getting closer and closer and closer, and Westy having a little look down the inside of the Renault, and Borussia, in fact, I thought he might be able to close the gap, but in fact he's only amassed himself into the 7-second gap, so I think he's going to find it difficult as we've now seen a disqualification, Luke.
Yeah, Altiero getting too many penalties. I said that's a chance that could happen. I said they needed some ERS saving as well from these front runners, and that is what Westy's done. That's allowed him to get closer to Josh. He's trying to go all the way round the outside. Is that going to give Paulie Orange an opportunity to steep back and do the undercut? No, it is not. So Josh definitely seems to be struggling a bit more out of these guys, although Westy's just ran a bit wide, and I think that falls Paulie Orange wide as well. So Josh, maybe, don't know if he's just struggling with tyres a bit more, or struggling from the fact that he's the only one of these not to have the DRS, but 4 laps remaining at the end of this one. 6 tenths now separating the front 3. Is Westy going to be able to do anything into turn 1? He's not got enough ERS, and he just pulls out of the slipstream this time around. Will all this battling, I can't see it being enough to allow Borussia to catch up. 7.5 seconds behind seems too big a gap, but he's looking pretty safe in 4th place, which will cheer him up after the Canadian Grand Prix, no doubt. And Paulie Orange further ahead though, he's looking ever closer to Westy. I think as soon as Westy has a go at Josh, if he manages to get past, Paulie Orange wants to be close enough to ensure he can just follow straight through.
Luke, I'm on the edge of my seat. They're now making their way down the Mistral chicane. Westy now moving in towards the slipstream of Josh, though he can't not get there. He can't seem to gain any gaps. Josh doing well to defend the position, and Paulie Orange is managing to gain on the Williams right now. They're getting their way through the Mistral chicane now on the outset of it, and dead ahead they're going to be leading their way into sector 3. You can just see the sector 3 line now. Josh swarming on the track, trying to escape the slipstream of Westy, because Westy is like a dog possessed at the moment, a wild dog possessed. He's got the Haas dead behind him now. He's looking to make that move. You can see Paulie Orange all over the back end of that Williams now. He's really looking to get close. Remember, these 3 had a 3-way dance going into the final stages of lap 23. We could yet see it again. Josh trying to defend for all he's worth. The Renault swarming all over the back, trying to close every escape route possible to stop him losing P1 as they make their way through the last couple of bends now. They've got the pond corner still to come, and as they do so, you can see Westy right on the back end of Josh right now. You can just see it. You can cut the tension with a knife. The gaps between the intervals thinner than a fly's eyelash as they make their way down towards the Varary bend now. The Varary S's, shall we say. And you can see that Westy has managed to block off Paulie Orange. I think Paulie Orange was having a little nose there as they make their way around the first bend, and they make their way towards the Mistral Straight once again shortly. That they have got a few corners to judge first before they do so. But Paulie Orange having a look down the inside, and he's getting closer. He's still getting closer if he can get closer at all, because he's already right within the Williams' gearbox right now. It's really difficult to see. I'm on the edge of my seat right now, and I've got to say, it can only be a matter of time before one of them breaks as they make their way down the Mistral Straight. Westy still getting closer to the front of that Haas, and Josh is trying to defend once again, trying to escape that slipstream. He's done a mighty good job so far, considering the fact that these two are both on 17 lap old tyres. Paulie Orange on the fresher of the compounds. It is truly an intoxicating watch, and let's not forget Lawrence has closed the gap on Anderoa. He's now within the gap now, and Lawrence bursts past. He bursts past Anderoa and takes him at the Mistral chicane, and that allows him to move into P6. Lawrence reclaiming some great form. That's Asylum. Don't forget P8. He's within the 2-second gap now. 1.6 seconds separating him and Anderoa right now. It could be a double Ferrari day. The best positions here, well, the best constructors' performance in this race so far here in lap 25 of 27, Luke.
Yeah, Lawrence, he'll be wanting to catch double O up as well. He might just drag Anderoa and Nuts Asylum with them. The penalty situation is unchanged up front as we've got 2 laps to go. Josh still has a 3-second penalty. Westy and Paulie Orange do not. And Josh having to go defensive very late there. We'll just talk quickly about some of the other battles. So Josh gets himself another time penalty for multiple warnings. He's now got 6 seconds of penalty. So the win on track he might be going for, but it looks like it'll be between Westy and Paulie Orange for the win after the stewards have had their say. Just a bit further back, I was going to say NUF1 has managed to get ahead of Drofnas, but the Mercedes right underneath the rear wing of that Toro Rosso at the moment just doesn't seem to be closing. Though, is Drofnas going to be pointless here today, which would be a nightmare for the championship leader?
Well, here we go. Here comes Westy. He's diving down the outside. He's dragging Paulie Orange with him. We can have a 3-way dance as Westy bursts ahead, but he's got Josh on his inside as they make their way out of the chicane now onto the straight, the second part of the Mistral Straight. They're going too wide here. Here comes Paulie Orange right down the middle. The Haas is right behind the Williams there as they make their way into sector 3, and Westy has taken P1, but he's still got Josh. No, Josh has done it. Josh has moved in. Here comes Paulie Orange, the Haas coming into P2, and he does it, but they're still toe-to-toe. You can't separate them as they come through in the last stages of lap 26. Westy, what a retake, takes P2, but he nearly had P1. Josh given a lease of life once again, though he does have penalties. Westy's got to be careful. He's on his final warning, and he's going toe-to-toe with these two guys. I've got to say, it's phenomenal driving, phenomenal battling. These guys really giving us a show here as they make their way down towards the first corner. Josh, I am literally, sorry, Luke, I'm really sweating right now. It's unbelievable.
Answers on a postcard as to how these three came out of that lap the same as they started it. Unbelievable driving from all of them to avoid any contact. Further down the field, Double O, he must have made a mistake because he's dropped way down the field. So that's put Anderoa up into 5th, and Lawrence and Nuts Asylum now 6th and 7th. You're going to have one final chance. I think Josh, he's lower on fuel than the rest, and he's lower on ERS, but it doesn't matter with 1 lap to go. Paulie Orange, he's dropped a bit further back, but they're all low on ERS at the moment. I think Westy's just going to have to try and get a bit closer at this point and just try and do something in the final sector. Paulie Orange, he's dropped a bit further back, so he's going to take 3rd out on track as he's now got himself a penalty. He must have picked up a few warnings in the final few laps, so I think Westy's looking at the favourite here today to take it, but he'll be wanting to do it out on track. Josh going defensive before taking the racing line. George, I'll leave it to you for the final sector. Who's going to claim the win here?
Well, they're making their way through Sector 3 now. They're very nearly towards the home straight, leading into who will be decided the victor here at the Paul Ricard circuit. Paulie Orange still there, but like we said before, like Luke told you, he has got a 3-second time penalty. So Westy in pole position to take P1 here, and that will be a 2nd win this season. But the way things are going, Paulie Orange will reclaim that vital 3rd podium that we've yet to see this season as they come round the final bend. And Josh is about to come over the line, but will it be Westy to take the plaudits here, to take P1? P1 as they cross the line. It is indeed Westy, the winner here at the French Grand Prix here at the Paul Ricard. Paulie Orange taking P1, and he's got to be pleased with that. You know, he gets his third podium, though I would have expected, or he would have thought that he would have liked to have got more. He could have got his third win of the season, but he does get a P2 to fill in his locker. And Josh coming home on his debut in P3, a good performance considering he picked up those penalties earlier on, and he can't be disappointed, especially after that display of great defensive driving through that race. I mean, I've got to say, and a great result for Ferrari as well. Lawrence coming home in P5, and the Nuts Asylum bringing the points home for the Prancing Horses in P6 as well. What a race, Luke.
Yeah, fantastic race, I must say. Well done for those three, not making any contact, keeping it fairly clean. As well, just a bit further down, Anderoa came across the line 5th. Must have had more penalties in a German football training session. He's dropped all the way down to 10th position. Droftas, he always seems to gain places at the checkered flag. He's up into 7th. Great job from the Ferrari drivers. But Westy, 2 victories in a row. He's done it once again. Just seems to be quite happy crossing the line in 2nd and finishing in 1st position.
Certainly does, and our winner, like we said, is Westy. He takes P1 here, and he's got to be happy with that. That battle at the death was phenomenal. Paulie Orange taking P2. You see him on the pedestal there. The Renault of Josh on his debut. A very, very respectable P3 without a shadow of a doubt, knowing that he probably could have taken the top step here in his first race. We will now read through the final classifications of this Grand Prix. It has been a corker, folks. I really hope you've all enjoyed it, because we certainly have. P1 goes to Westy, 2nd win of the season for the Williams team, and the constructors will be proud. Paulie Orange, P2 for Haas. Josh in P3. Borussia coming back after that earlier incident. P4 for the Red Bull driver. Lawrence, what a recovery drive. P5 for him, as well as the Nuts Asylum. A great show of strategy from him to keep those hard tyres going. That late change on the softs proving his worth and getting up to P6. Droftas taking P7, NUF1 P8, Alien P9, Androa P10, Jonathan Cox P11, and Denge in P12, Hibilu P13, Sirius Mushroom P14, Yossi Heinzer DNF'd at the earlier on in the race, Double O unfortunately losing him as well, P16, Oto's P17, Artillero finishing the order with a disqualification in P18. But Luke, what a display. I mean, who was your driver of the day in all that?
Oh, well, I always hate going for the winners, but Westy's managed to keep it clean and not get any penalties, and looking down the field, there's only 2 drivers who've done that, so I think it's hard to look away from Westy, but another one, big credit, Nuts Asylum's gained 9 places in that race, managed to finish 6th. He'll be delighted with how he's done today.
I've got to agree with you 100%. For me, my driver of the day is the Nuts Asylum. Very shortly, folks, we will be bringing people into the stream, obviously, for interviews, so we will wait to see them there as we now wait for them to enter the commentary box. But I got to say, what a spin that really gives us in the constructor standings. Obviously, we're looking at the results now. I believe that means that I think, based on that fact of that race, that Paulie Orange might just take sneak P1 in the Drivers' Championship.
I think that puts him 3 points ahead. I believe it put Paulie Orange on to 80 points. Droftas will now be on 77. And Borussia, he's still in there. He's on 71 points himself, so he'll be happy with that tonight. We didn't really seem to talk about him much, but he managed to get P4 all on his own. But you can't count out Westy. He's had 2 wins out of 2 races, obviously. There's so many drivers who could still do well. Josh getting a podium on his debut, and a few others starting to show good pace as well.
They certainly have. What a display that was indeed. I mean, the ending of that race was quite frankly breathtaking, and we were able to call, I got to say, a very, very phenomenal battle between 3 phenomenal drivers, and it certainly gave us a mouth-watering finish at the Paul Ricard circuit. It's been nothing short of intoxicating here, folks, here at Mixed Energy Formula Online Racing. Just to say, before we start the interviews, please leave a like and a subscribe as well. Obviously, help the channel, support FOR, Mixed Energy, obviously help us grow. More to come from this fantastic league. With more great racing dead ahead. We are joined at this moment in time by Josh and Westy. I'm not sure whether we're going to see our other podium sitter as well. We have got Lawrence in
just to say, George, Beer can't make it, and neither can Paulie Orange. So the next person will be 5th place, which is me.
Okay.
So we'll have 3 drivers.
No problem at all. So Borussia unable to join us, and and unfortunately Paulie Orange unable to so as well. But we are joined with Lawrence, Westy, and Josh. We'll start with Lawrence, though, obviously positioning himself in P5. A great recovery drive, Lawrence, in that Grand Prix after that earlier bit of chaos. How did you feel the race went?
Yeah, it was a really good race. A little bit disappointed with the damage. There was a little battle between Jonathan Cox and the new lad in the
McLaren, Andero.
yeah, it was in the McLaren. Yeah, sorry, Andero was in the McLaren, and unfortunately, I went into the back of Jonathan Cox and got wing damage. And I was forced to pit. I came out with them, and we had a really good battle between the three of us. And yeah, it worked out really well. Came fifth today, so really happy with that.
Certainly was a great, solid performance. Great day for Ferrari as well as a whole, because Nuts Asylum coming into play in P6 as well. He's definitely showing a return to form, Lawrence. Could we see a turnaround for the Prancing Horses towards the latter stages of this season?
I think you can see a little bit more of solidarity, definitely, from the team. Me and Nuts are improving every week. It's an uphill climb against Paulie Orange, Josh, and Westy, but we'll aim to battle them.
Well, kudos to you. I'm not sure whether you have a question as well, Luke, because obviously Ferrari really impressing us today, without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah, just going to ask that incident that you had, Lawrence, how much did that compromise your strategy? Because I imagine maybe just forced you to pit a few laps earlier. Were you still planning to go on the hards for the final stint anyway?
Yeah, I was definitely planning to go on the hards, but it cost me quite a lot of time because I was slower that lap because of the wing damage, and then also I missed out on having the mediums for another 5 laps. So because of that, I lost a lot of time, but it worked out in the end. I came fifth, so I'm happy with the result.
Yeah, well, definitely. It's a shame that happened, because I think otherwise we could have seen you battling up there with Borussia, and same for the other 2 drivers involved in that. But great performance from yourself, Lawrence.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Well done, Lawrence. And we'll move on now to our second place driver. That being, it'd be, it is second. No, third, isn't it? Third place. Third place driver, Josh. Josh, incredible display of defending from yourself. You had it all to do towards the end, because naturally they were all over the back of you. Obviously, the lack of DRS being obviously because you were P1, you had to do all you could to keep them from genuinely attacking you through the end of that race. But I've got to say, kudos to your driving there. How did you feel it went?
The first stint was alright on the softs, but after pit stop onto the mediums, I had DRS failure twice. So when I was coming through the traffic, I was obviously slower to get through it than I would have been if I had DRS. But then after that, I ran out of fuel, ran out of ERS, so I was fuel saving the rest of the race. Then got 2 stupid penalties on the first. I got all my warnings on the first corner, all of them. And then obviously I said to Westy before the race I weren't letting him pass though. I knew I had pens and I weren't going to win the race, but for me, exciting. So.
Yeah, well, it was a great watch for certainly me and Luke, and I've got to say the strategies were differing right across the field. Naturally, the hard seemed to be the more prominent tyre. We did see a lot of it. Did you ever think to enforce a change of strategy, or did you have a plan before the start of the race, or with all the safety cars, did it all get changed? What did you carry out the plan you wanted to start with?
Well, no, it was more of on the limb pit stop, because as soon as the VSC come out, I was near the box anyway, so. And it was about, I think it was lap 7, lap 8, and I was going to come in about 3 laps later, lap 11 anyway, so I just come in then. I don't think Westy was going to come either. I think he just followed me because I did it, I think.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I just wanted
so.
Yourself, Luke? Anything for you?
No, I think you pretty much covered it. I mean, I must say, I thought it was pretty close as to whether the pitting under the VSC would work, and I think it ended just at the right time for you guys as you were coming out the pit lane. Otherwise, you might have lost a bit more time and got stuck in a bit more traffic, obviously. But great job from yourself on your debut to get P3.
Nice one. Should have been first, but stupid penalties.
Well, kudos to yourself. Great.
1-0 to me, that isn't it?
No, great debut from yourself, Josh, and you certainly showed some great talent out there. Great defending towards the end as well. Just unfortunate, obviously penalties happen. You know, it's roll on next week, I suppose, for yourself, isn't it? Just see if you can go one couple places better.
Yeah, I'll win next week
There you are. You heard it here first. Josh will win next week. We'll move on to our eventual winner, Westy. Nut cutting time towards the end of that race. You had to quickly try and get past Josh to obviously defend from Paulie Orange, because he was swarming all over the back. You looked like Paulie Orange might have had the better of the pair of you towards the end of that race, but great defending once again from yourself and Josh to keep that Haas at bay. Talk us through it. Were you sweating right through the end of that?
Oh, what was it? Lap 26, I think, when we were all like, it was three wide, wasn't it? Going through fast right-hander.
It was, yeah.
And I actually backed out of it going into the corner because I thought this is going to end in tears. So I backed off slightly, and you've seen Orange went ahead of me, and I just sort of hung it around the outside of him. But yeah, I was a little bit sketchy, that one. But obviously, I was waiting the whole race really just to get one chance at Josh. And yeah, that's when it came. And it's like, well, I've got to take it now. So I want to win it on track. I don't want to win on penalties really. Obviously, I'll take it, but yeah, it was a bit sweaty, that one, mate.
It gave us a good watch, and I think you ought to watch the stream later on because it was absolutely phenomenal. I was screaming at the top of my lungs towards the end of that. It was an absolute phenomenal watch, certainly from a commentary perspective. But like I said, I'm going to ask you the same question I asked Josh. Was your strategy otherwise effective going into this race? Because did you have to change any plans, or was it always in your mind to follow Josh and just basically do what he does?
No, I was going to pit lap 10.
Right.
But obviously, when the VSC came out and I seen him dart into the pits, I thought, oh, I might do that as well. So I just followed him in, and then I just planned to just follow him for most of the race really, and just hope to get like that one shot at him, and then obviously try and take it. But I failed, unfortunately. But yeah, it didn't matter because I knew that depends anyway. But yeah, and I wasn't aware that Orange had a penalty. I didn't know. When did he pick up his penalty?
Very late on, wasn't it?
It was either lap 26 or lap 27, I think. It was very late. He had no warnings up until about lap 20, so I think that just shows how hard the Haas driver was pushing towards the end to try and get the victory.
Yeah, fair play.
Well, it does mean now that we have broken the curse of 3 podiums for one driver this season, so that's good. And unfortunately, the trend of new drivers coming in and taking P1 has been deferred as well. So Josh unable to take P1 and continue that streak.
Oh, what a letdown!
Yeah, you ruined it, Westy.
Westy's still got the opportunity to get 3 wins on the run. Only Paulie Orange has done 2 wins on the run so far.
But can Westy get 3 wins on the run by winning out on track, or are you planning to be second across the line and just wait for the penalties?
Is that a sly dig, Luke?
No, it works. It works. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. No, absolutely. It certainly does throw up a mouth-watering prospect, and next week is going to be all the telling. I mean, at the moment, Paulie Orange, on the basis of that result, has moved himself into top of the driver's standings. And Westy, that's done you a load of favours as well, that victory, pushing you up to 50 points. And you're going to be in the realm, certainly, of halfway to the top 10, maybe even, I think, even trumping the realm of P6. I think you might have moved yourself up to P6 in the championship, so you're getting ever closer to the top half.
Nice. How many points has Orange got?
Orange now, after today, he would have picked up...
He's on 80.
82, is it? 82?
Ah, lovely.
Yeah, he's on 82 points.
Right.
And that means he will be leading the Drivers' Championship. So it's still very close between all the drivers at the moment. And Josh will come into play, I'm sure, because I wouldn't be surprised if you get another podium this season as well. So it's going to be very tight up the top.
He's going to be hard to beat now, anyway. That's his worst track. He's going to be difficult to beat, but we'll see.
We're getting some real inside information here, folks. But yeah, next week is Austria, so one of my favourite circuits, certainly. So we'll look forward to that, and we'll bring that. I'd like to thank all of you guys in the commentary box as well for coming and join us for the post-race. I was going to say post-match, post-race press conference. We will catch you again soon. But thanks again, boys. Thank you.
Cheers.
Yeah, thank you. All right, Joshua has 1-0, mate. Right, bye.
See you. Bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to thank you all for watching here at Formula Online Racing Mixed Energy. It's been an absolute pleasure calling this race for you once again. And again, another spectacle here to die for. We're certainly going to have a lot to talk about on the podcast on Monday. Be sure to be there for that one. And we will be discussing all the highlights from Tuesday and indeed Saturday today as well. F2 and F1 coverage coming at you on Monday, and we'll relook at that. Don't forget, that'll be at 7 o'clock to start the podcast, so be sure to be there for that. But just before we go, please leave a like and a subscribe, and please obviously tune in to us again on Monday. Like I said, don't forget Tuesdays F2, Saturdays F1 as well. But from me, George Morgan, it's been a pleasure. Take care. And, of course, Luke as well. Goodbye.